Batting eighth, the right fielder, number 14, Ryan Morris. Batting ninth, the center fielder, number 2, Cal Alexander. In left field tonight for the Statesmen, number 3, Jonathan O'Neill. Assistant coaches, Michael Abadondo, Adam Wills, Jason McMahon, Eric Schiller. Head coach 2024, George Marshall Statesman, Mike Noyes, and the rest of the Marshall players. And now your Warhawks. Leading off, the second baseman, number 5, Cord Yates. Batting second, the third baseman, number 12, Henry Navarro. Batting third, the first baseman, number 23, Nico Papasanatio. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, number 29, Nathan Tonderal. Batting fifth, the shortstop, number 13, Chase Dorsey. Batting sixth, the right fielder, number 10, Carter Tuff. Batting seventh, the center fielder, number 27, Hector Orozco. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 4, Kyle Terrell. Batting ninth, the left fielder, number 6, Cole DeSimone. On the mound tonight for the Warhawks, number 1, Cale Yates. Assistant coaches, Justin Counts, Brent Weiss, Dane Charnenko, Joe Carter, Matt Sedlock, Ken Terrell. Head coach, 2024 Madison Warhawks, Mark Jorman. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like everyone to please rise as you are able. Gentlemen, remove your cap for the playing of our national anthem. Let's play some baseball.
We couldn't ask for any better weather in the second matchup of the Warhawks season. It's been high 70s for most of this afternoon and cloudy skies, but no rain. A perfect day for baseball. I am Calvin Kaplan, joined here by Sam Dine for the Warhawks' second game of the season. Moved up a day, was originally scheduled for Friday, but the Warhawks will be taking on Marshall in that crosstown rivalry. Sam, it's great to have you back for this excellent night of baseball.
Yeah, great to be back. Beautiful weather. Hopefully some good baseball, too. Great schools. Both schools been very competitive so far this year, and Calvin on the bump for the Warhawks today. Killing it.
Yeah, we talked about it last game. Cale, one of the top pitchers returning for the Warhawks this season. His control of his pitches has been excellent, and I'm excited to see how, if anything, his velocity has changed on his pitches. Always was a hard thrower last year, but has had another year to develop. Now a junior on the mound. Very, very excited to see him out here. As for Marshall, we'll run through their lineup, which you just heard moments ago. William Schroen, the second baseman, is hitting at the top of the order. Ethan Moore, the third baseman, is second. Nathan Lake, the DH, is third. The catcher, Dylan Miller, hits fourth. Vince Salvo, the first baseman, hits fifth. The pitcher, Noah Grossman, is sixth for Marshall. Seventh is Will Thomas, the shortstop. Eighth is Ryan Morris, the right fielder, and Cal Alexander, the center fielder, hits ninth. In the field for the Warhawks, Cole DeSimone, Hector Roscoe, Carter Tuff from left to right in the outfield, Henry Navarro, Chase Dorsey, Cord Yates, Nico Papathanassiou from left to right in the infield, Kyle Tyrell at catcher. Sounds really familiar, Sam. It was the same lineup as last game. What do you expect to see out of these guys tonight?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest question for the Warhawks, Calvin the man on the mound, Cale Yates, obviously last year primarily came out of the bullpen. Pudge has made an emphasis on how he wants starting pitchers to accelerate this year. And Yates, really big first opportunity so far this season to prove to Pudge what he's got, pitching longer innings.
Yeah, and what we saw last year is him primarily pitching out of the bullpen, as you see. I mean, even in these warmups, there's a lot of pop on that fastball. Primarily out of the bullpen, but in some huge spots. The Warhawks had some big games in the postseason that came down to a run, came down to extra innings, and Cale Yates was at the center of all of it. So he is no stranger to pressure. I'd honestly expect him to start off very, very strong here because he was unfazed last year, even as a sophomore, probably ready for anything at this point. And even better, his brother Cord in the field at second base is going to be the first time that we're going to see these two play together on a high school baseball diamond. Of course, the quarterback wide receiver duo for the football squad, but going to get to see him out here as the last warm-up pitch was thrown.
Yeah, Calvin, and I think one big question for Yates today, facing two hefty lefties within Marshall, the talented commit Vincent Salvo batting fifth today, and batting third, DHing Nathan Lake.
Yeah, that's going to be big to see. I mean, a couple of big hitters on this Marshall squad. They got a lot of depth in their batting order as the right-hander Strowan steps in. I'll handle the play-by-play for all odd-numbered innings. You'll hear Sam on the play-by-play for innings 2, 4, and 6 as we get underway. Cale Yates winds up and delivers his first pitch. Swung on and missed. Low in the zone. It's a swing and a miss for Strowan. The count is 0-1. And we're off. Yates comes set. He's going to not pitch out of the stretch, unlike Nathan Tundrell from Tuesday. That one is low after the full windup. Count even at 1 ball and a strike. Top of the first here at James Madison High School. No score between the Marshall Statesmen, who were 15-9 last year, and the state title winning 23-5 Warhawks. Yates winds and throws. That one's hit hard to right. Tuft is tracking, backing up, and makes the play. It's a fly out for out number 1. A good start there on 3 pitches for Cale Yates.
Yeah, great play back there by Carter Tuft. Hard line drive hit from Schoen. Nonetheless, a great play, but Yates already relying very heavily on that fastball. Calvin, how do you think it's going to affect him in later innings?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be huge. And like we talked about, I think his velocity seems to have stepped it up a few miles an hour from last year, which makes him all the more lethal. His command on the pitches is excellent as he puts that one high and inside for ball 1. But I think it will be huge because to have that extra juice on the fastball at the beginning of the game means that every fastball later in the game, even if he's worn down a little bit, will still have some pop. As here's the 1-0. That one's hit hard to Tuft, who is going to make the play again for out number 2. He's been a busy man. Had a couple of hits last game as well, but good to see a big start for the Warhawks as stepping up next is the DH Nathan Lake.
Yeah, you mentioned Tuft's hits last game. Moved up in the batting order a couple of spots today. All the hits were huge. An extra base hit and drove in several runs yesterday. Was really one of the breakout players of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see a lot of him tonight, of course, in right and at the plate. As that one swung on and missed for strike 1. Cale Yates, again, looking just excellent to start the game. Very, very strong as the count is 0-1.
Yeah, Calvin Lake being one of the lefties I emphasized on pregame. Let's see what he's got against Cale Yates.
2 outs. That one is low as he works quickly. Count even at 1-1. So Marshall, of course, 15-9 last season. They dropped 3-2 to South Lakes on Tuesday, despite a strong outing from Vince Salvo, who you mentioned earlier on the mound. He's playing first base tonight. That pitch high and away, 2-1 is the count. Stepping back into the box is Lake. With 2 outs and nobody on, infield playing relatively far back. Outfield deepest in center with a Roscoe shading to left center. So that one's low, 3-1. First hitter's count of the game for Marshall.
Yeah, Yates went to the off speed there. Let's see if he goes back to the fastball. 3-1.
Yeah, he's got a very, very good arsenal of pitches. Really able to mix it up on these hitters. The wind and the pitch. That one's low. Gets away from Tyrell. Couldn't find it. It is ball 4. So Lake goes to first. And Dylan Miller, the catcher, steps up. One other thing I'd like to mention, Sam, is we talked about this last broadcast, but the Warhawks did end up completing that combined no-hitter. So we're going to see, hopefully, some more strong pitching tonight. As of yet the Warhawks have still not allowed a hit this season on the mound.
Yeah, Calvin, hopefully you don't jinx on it. Thankfully, you just knocked on wood. See what Dylan Miller's got, but righty-righty matchup for Yates should be huge advantage.
Short lead off first for Lake, swing and a miss on a breaking ball for strike one. I mean, that is just a devastating pitch right there because it's not like a big loopy breaking ball that we just saw from Yates, but it definitely had some twist on it and got away from Miller for strike one.
Yeah, he uses that quarterback arm, not in particular known for his velocity, but when he uses it, it's scary.
Hit over to second. Cord Yates loses it. That will register as an error there. I mean, usually he's as sure-handed as they come over by second base, but Miller will get on first with an error, and now Vince Salvo, the first baseman, steps up as coming to the mound to talk to Yates as Kyle Tyrell.
Yeah, unfortunate play there by Yates. I'm sure he'll recover nonetheless, but dropped the line drive yesterday. Fortunately, could recover from it there. Too little, too late.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just, uncharacteristic of Cord Yates. Probably just took his eye off the ball a little bit too soon, but we know he's as good as they come. He's at the top of the order again in the bottom of the inning, so very excited to see him there.
Yeah, Calvin, first time we've seen the two Yates brothers on the field in action so far in varsity baseball. Should be exciting to see all year.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, like we talked about on last broadcast, a couple of brother duos play on the Warhawk teams in prior seasons, Cord and Kale, only the latest as, again, Nathan Lake stands off second, Dylan Miller off first. This Marshall team looks to be a threat this season, so this should be a very, very good game as Yates from the stretch throws it inside just off the plate for ball one.
Yeah, Calvin, you mentioned the Marshall team looking to be a threat this season to the Warhawks, and that starts with three players within their squad. Vincent Salvo, the man at the plate, the man taking second base right now, Nathan Lake, and Noah Grossman, three-headed pitching monster in that rotation.
A couple of runners dancing off the bag as that one's fouled into the netting, and the count is 1-1 with 2 outs in the first. Had a fly out, a line out, a walk, and an error that allowed Dylan Miller to reach. And Cale Yates, despite not having allowed a hit, is in a little bit of a jam here with 2 outs. But again, like we discussed, he's unfazed in these circumstances. And 1-1 count here, he'll look to go after Salvo. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball curve as it's fouled off into the dirt off the pads of Tyrell. Count is 1-2 with 2 away. What do you think he goes to, Sam, on this spot at bat?
Well, I mean, Salvo is a power bet, so I'm not sure, even though Kale's fastball, in particular in situations like this, is dominant, they'll go to it. I think we see the breaking pitch here.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here's the high kick in the pitch. Fastball hammered. He was a little bit late on it as he hits it down the third base line, foul. So count stays at 1-2.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Salvo, very similar build to Cole DeSimone. Calvin, big power left-handed hitter, and we saw him, despite not making the best contact on that one, driving it far and away.
Yeah, like you talked about, that was very prescient to mention his power hitting ability. Here's the 1-2. Low and in the dirt, count is even. Nice job by Tyrell pouncing on it, though. I mean, we've talked about as well how he is an excellent catcher for this team and a very reliable guy behind the plate. He shows it right there for sure. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. On deck is Noah Grossman, the pitcher. Lake off second, Miller off first. In the top of the first, no score between Madison and Marshall. High kick in the pitch. Breaking ball fouled up high, just to the left of us in the booth and out of play.
Yeah, Calvin Salvo, great at fighting things off, as you see here. Played baseball his whole life, and 2-2 count now. Let's see what it comes down to for Yates.
Yeah, and that's big time, being able to fight off those pitches, working the count. This is the first long at-bat we've seen from Marshall, and their dugout is loving it, making lots of noise. Yates winds, throws, hit to short, trying to chase it in is Dorsey. He has the ball, takes a couple hop steps and gets it to Nico Papathanasiou. That's a ground out for out number 3. So Schroen, Moore, and Salvo were retired. Lake and Miller stranded on base. We'll go to the bottom of the first. The Warhawks get out of the inning. They'll be up to hit after this. Into the bottom of the first, still no score. And as the teams head back out there, particularly the Marshall Statesmen warm up, we'll go through the lineup. It's very similar to what you saw on Tuesday, just with a couple of adjustments. Cord Yates, the second baseman, hits first. Henry Navarro, the third baseman, is second. Nico Papathanassiou, the first baseman, who had a triple last game, is third. Nathan Tundrolt, who had a couple walks, in the cleanup spot this time. So Papathanassiou and Tundrolt switching from last game. Chase Dorsey remains in fifth. Carter Tuff, the right fielder, is sixth. Orozco, the center fielder, is seventh. Kyle Tyrell, the catcher, down to eighth. And Cole DeSimone, the left fielder, remains in ninth. In the field for the Statesmen from left to right in the outfield, Jack O'Neill, who's not in the lineup, batting lineup, I should say. Cal Alexander and Ryan Morris. Left to right in the infield, Ethan Moore, Will Thomas, William Schroen, and Vince Salvo. Catching is Dylan Miller. And on the mound, Sam, is Noah Grossman.
Yeah, Calvin. Big emphasis for the Warhawks today. Carter Tuff had multiple hits in yesterday's affair. Let's see what he's got here. Righty-righty matchup for him might not go in his favor, but he did not struggle against the righties and was unfazed yesterday. So
he did not. The Warhawks coming off an 11-0 win, had a bunch of big hits, which we'll go through as these guys come up in the lineup. But of course, the head coach for the Warhawks, Pudge Jorman, we talked about him last game. Nearly 30 seasons of experience coaching high school baseball. A couple things he talked about though before the game when we got to speak to him, including the fact that his squad was very aggressive on the base paths last game. He talked about how we teach offense, not hitting, which means all facets of the game, including stealing bases. So we might see that be a factor tonight as well, as the first pitch away for Cord Yates for ball one.
Yeah, Calvin, you emphasized on that base running, and the man at the plate, Cord Yates, one of the guys who really emphasized on it yesterday. One of the faster Warhawks, uses that receiver speed.
Yeah, he had three stolen bases. He was tearing around the base paths last game, as that one is away for ball two. But Cord Yates last game, 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. And then, of course, those 3 stolen bases. Here's the next pitch, swung on and missed. So getting a strike in there, though, is Noah Grossman. Count is 2-1.
Wait, it should be at home.
Grossman comes set. Winds and throws. That one is called strike at the knees of Cord Yates, who gives a brief glance back at the umpire. Not sure he liked the call there, but it's 2-2.
Yeah, Calvin, questionable call there. Yates, though, shakes it off.
2-2 count. The wind and the pitch. Chopped foul just down the third base line. The Warhawks, they did have a big offensive explosion there. 11-0 win over the Potomac Falls Panthers on Tuesday. But they didn't really get their bats going early against Potomac Falls' ace. That's what they'll try to do here against Noah Grossman, as that one's hit hard toward the first base side. Salvo fields it. He's going to toss it to the pitcher, Grossman. Yates almost beat it out, but nonetheless, it's out number 1.
Yeah, really a little closer than it should have been there, Calvin. Cord Yates churning down the line. Still an out, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, so now stepping up is Henry Navarro. And you mentioned, Sam, that speed. We saw that last game at a play at the plate. I don't actually quite remember who it was who scored, but it was a play at the plate where if Potomac Falls hadn't been rushed by a guy digging down the third base line, they actually might have been able to tag him out at home. But nonetheless, that's the hustle that you have in this team, and that really makes a difference.
Yeah, that was Chase Dorsey who came around and scored.
That one's fouled off. Thank you for reminding me there. I remembered it was one of the younger guys on the team, but Dorsey, among others, has a ton of speed, as that one's 0-1.
Yeah, Navarro obviously being one of those guys with speed. You see third baseman for the Statesmen coming in playing.
Very shallow, as that one's inside. Count is 1-1 with 1 away in the inning. And both teams have pitchers who are working very, very quickly in this one.
Yeah, Calvin. Noah Grossman, one of the best that the Statesmen has. Very similar kill.
That one's down the third base line, foul. And yeah, you talked about how he's a similar guy to Kale. He's also got that velocity on his fastball, but very good at locating a lot of his pitches. So we'll see more of that here as the count gets to 1-2.
Yeah, neither of them are the biggest height guys, but you see those big legs, Calvin. They utilize that within their pitches. And
oh no, where should be on that? It should be home score.
1-2 fouled off to the backstop with 1 away in the inning. So Navarro looks back at the dugout. Last game, 1 for 2 with a single, a walk, and a stolen base. So another guy who was digging around the base paths there as he steps back into the batter's box. The right-hander facing off against the right-handed pitcher. Here's the 1-2. That hits him. Struck him, I couldn't tell, Sam, maybe in the arm or the hip, one of those areas. He's going to head over to first. That gets the Warhawks' first base runner there for Nico Papathanassiou, who will step up.
Papathanassiou, the power bat, having a runner on. Thankfully, Mario looks okay over at first as he grabs his stomach area. But Nico Papathanassiou, one of the guys with a lot of power. as we mentioned yesterday, potentially a Bryce Eldridge replacement. If it's going to come down to anyone, it might be Nico. And you see Navarro taking a shorter lead over at first. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, so he steps out now. He's extending it a little bit, so good to see. Papathanassiou was 1 for 3 with a triple last game. The pitch is outside. Navarro dancing off first. You can tell he wants another one. He was used a lot as a pinch runner last season. Now getting to bat for himself and run around the base paths. Got to feel good for the senior. Count is 1-0. Throw over to first. He dives back safely. That almost got him too. Noah Grossman with a very, very good pickoff move.
Yeah, Calvin Grossman, one of very many key members of the Statesmen's Liberty District Championship campaign last season.
That's for sure. As that one's low, Navarro's going to dig for second. He dives, and he is safe. Gets into second and gets into scoring position. So Henry Navarro with his second stolen base of the season, and Coach Pudge was right. They teach not just hitting, but all facets of the offense. That's shown right there.
Yeah, Calvin, unfortunately unable to field that for the Statesmen was Will Thomas, but a great throw from Dylan Miller, really on a rope ultimately, but Navarro got a good jump, maybe.
He'll be very busy today as that one's popped up in the left. Trying to track it down is Jack O'Neill. It's in foul territory. O'Neill can't make the play. So that's a break there for Nico Papathanassiou, but O'Neill had a long way to run, to be fair. So the count's 2-1.
Yeah, Calvin, first time we've seen Papathanassiou with that power in terms of getting the ball up high, and O'Neill unable to track that one down as it went very far.
Yeah, I think he lost his cap near the end of the play as well, if I'm not mistaken. Marshall, the Statesman, rocking the red, white, and blue out there. Very unique uniform combination as Grossman gets on the mound. Time is called for the batter. Papathanassiou steps out of bounds. The Warhawks dugout making some more noise.
Yeah, Calvin, I mean, both sides loud, big rivalry today, and all was expected.
Navarro takes a big lead off second. 2-1 count with 1 out. The wind and the pitch. That one's chopped down the first base line. Goes foul. One of the coaches for Marshall barehands it just outside of the dugout. Count is 2-2 with 1 away. Papathanassiou takes a hack outside the box and steps back in.
Yeah, Calvin, one thing that allows Grossman to be so dominant on the mound is his command and his placement with his pitches. Papathanassiou there very early on that pitch.
We'll definitely see that here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Catcher loses it. It's Miller. Navarro's going to dig for third, so that probably registers more as a wild pitch rather than a stolen base. But nonetheless, Henry Navarro is a sac fly away from giving the Warhawks their first run in the game, and that is the advantage that stealing bases can give you as the count's full.
Yeah, especially with Papathanassiou at the dish, you know that Grossman's focus is on the hitter.
Grossman locked in now. Shook off a sign. Now comes set. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Papathanassiou. The pitch swung on and foul tipped into the mitt of Dylan Miller. Nice job holding on there for a strike 3. So 2 outs in the inning. Navarro stands on third, and Nathan Tundrell, now not a sac fly threat. He's going to have to get a hit here to drive Navarro in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how he hits today. Obviously pitched a long game yesterday. No hits given up through several innings, but was also a threat at the plate, and let's see if he can do that again tonight.
Walked a couple times as well last game as he swings and misses on the breaking ball. But yeah, we do see him. You pointed out, Sam, pitched 3 2/3 last game, comes in this game, still the DH despite not pitching. We didn't actually see him in the batting lineup much last year, but of course, the Warhawks were very, very deep at the hitting spots, and so that makes sense. As there's a slider that maneuvered its way back into the zone. That was an excellent pitch as it's 0-2. So Grossman on the bump. Now steps back up. He's pitching from the stretch. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Navarro on third. The batter is Nathan Tundrell. Here's this set. And the pitch swung on and chopped towards short. Trying to track it in is Will Thomas, or actually, the third baseman Moore. He fires it wide, and it's going to be safe at first. There is the batter, Tundrell. Navarro gets driven in, and Tundrell's hustle, forcing an error. He reaches base, and the Warhawks lead 1-0.
Yeah, Calvin, we can endlessly go on with the speed that this Warhawks team has. You see Nathan Tundrell, despite being a pitcher, churning down the first base line, getting in safely by a mile. I mean, even if that throw isn't wild, and now the Warhawks with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, so that's a good point they bring up. Probably would have been scored as a single even if the throw hadn't been wild. There's a very nice hustle there as Chase Dorsey steps up. Tundrell's going to go. The pitch is low. Miller's not even going to throw it. And, I mean, look at this. Aggression in the first inning. This is what Coach Pudge wanted to see when he talked about a fast start.
I mean, yeah, so many threats at the plate and when it comes to stealing bases. And let's see what Dorsey can do here now with the runner in scoring position.
Yeah, Dorsey 0 for 1, 2 walks last game. Has Tundrell way off second, actually. 1-0 game. The Warhawks lead. And Grossman steps off, almost threw it over. Nobody was covering the bag there. And Tundrolt steps off. He's not even maybe one of the main guys known for his speed on this roster, but yet dancing off the bag nonetheless. Here's the pitch. Low and away. Miller does a nice job with it. Fires to second. Tries to get him on the back pick, but didn't have quite enough juice on that one.
Yeah, nearly hit Tundrolt there as he gets into second rather, pretty easily.
2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. The Warhawks lead 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. Tundrolt on second. Dorsey the batter. Grossman on the bump. Comes into the stretch. Just above waist high is the ball as he fires. Breaking ball high. Nearly hit Dorsey. So to recap so far, we had a ground out from Cord Yates, hit by a pitch on Henry Navarro. Nico Papathanassiou struck out, and then Nathan Tundrolt hit an infield single, stole second, and now, of course, we have a run across the plate for Madison Warhawks. The pitch, low, ball 4, and Chase Dorsey draws his 3rd walk of the season, very patient at the plate.
Yeah, Calvin, potentially our player of the game yesterday, Carter Tuff, stepping in now, obviously 2 for 3. With a single and a double, and also another guy who had several stolen bases.
Yeah, you pointed out that fact out. I mean, he stole a base last game, but yeah, pointed out how he moved up a couple spots in the order. He had a single and a double, was 2 for 3. Probably the guy who really got the Warhawks going offensively. And with a couple guys on base, this is a good spot for Madison. Grossman throws over, and it goes into the outfield. Tundrolt didn't react quite quickly enough, but of course his focus should be getting back to the base primarily first, so can't really fault him much for that. But that one got away from the shortstop Thomas there. So now Grossman has it on the mound as the lights are on here just prior to 7 o'clock. Cloudy skies, but we're in short sleeves in the booth and don't feel any sort of change from room temperature. It is perfect outside. Tuft in the box. Here's the pitch. Pops straight up, high. They're going to have to call for it. The second baseman, Schroen, looks to get it. And he does. It's a pop out to end the inning, but the Warhawks, despite stranding 2 runners, do score a run. So we'll be back for the top of the second. You'll hear Sam on the play-by-play for the first time after this.
All right, Calvin, coming up for the Statesmen now. It'll be Grossman, Thomas, and Morris on the bump once again in this second inning. Cale Yates, Calvin, Noah Grossman, a dual threat both on the mound and as a hitter. How have you seen him so far on the bump?
He's been locating his pitches very well, I think, is the main thing. Excited to see what kind of power he's got here.
Yep, Yates working quick today. Comes set. First pitch of the at-bat, low and away. And that one taken by Grossman, found nothing but dirt, and it'll be a 1-0 count.
Yeah, it looks like he started off this inning a bit more amped up than the first. So that one went low.
Yates now finds the strike zone. Generous call there, outside corner. 1-1 count.
Very well located pitch to bounce back there.
Yeah, Tyrell so dominant behind the plate. Great job framing that one. Yates now comes set. 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed by Grossman. 1-2 now the count for Yates. First time we've seen him with a really nice loopy off-speed pitch and got Grossman swinging as Yates now 1-2 count comes set. Both sides quiet. The pitch. Nice deflection there by Tyrell. It'll be a 2-2 count.
Yeah, so that was the second pitch in the at-bat where he kind of spiked it in the dirt, and obviously uncharacteristic for him, but probably just got a little bit too released it a little bit too late in his windup once again.
Yeah, ampy there, but 2-2 count nonetheless. Yates comes set. The pitch to Grossman. Once again in the dirt, full count now. As some pitcher-on-pitcher action. As good as it gets, 3-2 count.
Yeah, you can tell, of course, not where he wanted to locate it there either. We'll see where he goes on 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2 count. The Statesmen crowd barking. Yates, the pitch. High and outside. Grossman takes first as the Statesmen have their third base runner of the day. And Yates got a little wild there, Calvin. Obviously, primarily came out of the bullpen. As mentioned earlier in the broadcast last year, first day taking longer innings. Do you think he's going to be able to make it through?
I think he will. I mean, I think, again, this is more so just like maybe being a little amped up rather than having trouble pitching multiple innings in a row, because we did see him do that even out of the bullpen last year. What's interesting is that just like last game, the Warhawks are loading up the bases early without allowing hits as Will Thomas steps in here.
Yeah, Will Thomas stepping in to face Yates, his first at-bat of the day, wearing those infamous Bruce Bolt's bats, as Yates sending a message to Grossman over at first. He's not going to let him go. Throws over to first. Grossman slides back in safely nonetheless.
The message is right. That had some heat on it. He said, "Do not cross my line. You're not stealing second." And look at that short lead over there.
Yeah, Yates comes set now. The pitch right down the heart of the plate, taken by Thomas. And Yates now, maybe a little lucky Thomas didn't swing. 0-1 count, good location.
Great location and a great way to reset after a bit of few wild pitches on the last at-bat.
Yeah, Thomas now stepping in, 0-1 count, taking his lead over at first is Grossman. As the pitch, and Grossman's going ball. Tyrell over to second, and a nice throw nonetheless. But Grossman slides in safely, just avoiding the tag of Cord Yates.
Yeah, that was a big-time stolen base there, and huge momentum for Marshall, who's trying to match what Madison did. Sorry, just a quick correction, is Joseph Deerbeck who came in as a pinch runner for Grossman, which I only just noticed now. He's taken a leadoff second, but that was a big-time steal for Marshall.
Yeah, Deerbeck, a part of last year's varsity squad. Yates now 1-1 count, comes set, time taken by Thomas. As you mentioned, both sides now, base running being the main attraction so far today's ball game. As Grossman, even at second, taking a huge lead. Dorsey checking in on that. Yates now comes set, 1-1 pitch. Once again, time taken. As Tyrell now going over to the mound for a mound visit.
Yeah, some boos coming in from the crowd there, but we did see back-to-back, I guess the time called and then the mound visit. But yeah, I mean, with Deerbeck sitting in that spot in terms of scoring position, this is a big moment for Thomas to step in. He is a very, very solid hitter, and Ryan Morris itching to get up as well, the right fielder on deck. So Kale's been in these pressure spots before. We'll see how he handles it now.
Yeah, it seems like Tyrell's brought plenty of leadership skills so far to the Warhawks. He's been the man behind the plate in both games, and primarily Calvin has been causing a lot of mound visits as Yates now comes set, 1-1 pitch. Low once again, 2-1 the count now to Thomas. So Yates struggling to find his spot a little bit. As Thomas steps in now, 2-1 count. As Yates awaits, he comes set. Thomas getting ready with the pitch. Swung on and missed. Beautiful pitch there from from Cale Yates. That one got a lot of movement to it, Calvin. As the count now 2-2.
Yes, Sam, I wish I was out there on the mound. I was a great pitcher for the record in 7th grade, but I don't have the medal to be out there on the mound for this Warhawks squad, of course, but I appreciate it nonetheless. But yeah, great job by Cale there, evening the count. We'll see what he's got here on 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2 pitch. The Statesmen bench going crazy. Yates once again, a little ampy there. That one gets away from him. 3-2 the count.
Big moment here, perhaps the biggest of the game, because this is, really, the Warhawks, despite only scoring 1 run, they had a lot of momentum that last inning, but they still haven't allowed a hit. So to be able to shut down the batter Thomas here, that'd be huge.
Yeah, 3-2 count. Grossman takes his lead. Yates the pitch. Just in the dirt. Once again, didn't quite get his spot, and Thomas did not bite as he now trots his way over to first. And the Statesmen now, Calvin, once again, runners on first and second, but this time with no outs.
Yeah, that was a really good pitch, but an even better eye from Will Thomas. So how about that take to be confident in himself, realize that here, I'm getting the ball 4, even if it's close. Then he goes over to first. Now Morris is up.
Yep, Morris now, Ryan Morris just announced, stepping into the dish as his first pitch Receive from Yates. He sets up in a bunt. Yates steps off to send the runners back, and no one went. So we'll reset.
Some heckling coming from the Marshall side there. They were considerably louder than the Panthers were on Tuesday, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, big rivalry game as that is expected. Nonetheless, Calvin Yates comes set. First pitch to Morris. Morris sets up for a bunt. And he pulls back, takes that one low and away. Ball one.
Yeah, that was a close one. Honestly, thought he might not have pulled back in time there, but nonetheless, it looks like he just barely got the bat back. It's a 1-0 count.
Yeah, Calvin. I mean, Yates there looks patient on the mound despite some pitches getting away from him, not letting it get to the best of him. 1-0 pitch. Comes set. Bunted by Morris. That one's going to go to Tyrell. Tyrell goes over to first, takes the easy play. And nice play from Tyrell nonetheless. Over at first, receiving that one toward Yates. And the Warhawks have one down. Good trade for both sides.
Yeah, you saw, I mean, he wanted it at second at first. That's where he pumped, but a good decision by Tyrell to get the smart out. So with the fielder's choice, now it's one away, runners on second and third, but a big jam is here's Cal Alexander stepping up.
Yeah, first time we've seen Alexander so far today. Similar to Madison, a lot of these guys, VLL products, Calvin. As Alexander, another left-handed bat, third so far for the Statesmen. Is Yates now thanks to Tyrell for that last play, and once again a pitch getting away from him. 1-0 count.
Yeah, that one a little high there, I would say, around the helmet of Cal Alexander, but at least it's better than consistently going low. It looks like Yates has at least regained some of his control here.
Yeah, Yates now comes set. One down, one ball, and now first strike of the at-bat, fouled back by Alexander late on that one. Calvin, one thing that's huge for Yates is his quarterback-like arm. He's capable of throwing balls harder than many other players within this district. As you see a fastball blowing Alexander by there, as late on that one, barely got a piece of it.
Yeah, that was a really, really good pitch. His velocity has definitely increased, as you can see more and more pitches from him since last offseason. That one,
yeah,
looks like it got away, out of play.
Once again, another fouled pitch by Alexander as Yates now looking for his first strikeout of the ball game. 1-2 count. So many 2-strike counts so far from Yates. Sometimes it gets away from him, but see if he can have all things go well here. The Warhawks infield playing in. Yates comes set. 1-2 count. One down. The pitch to Alexander. Low and away. That one gets away from Tyrell. Now coming around to score is Joey Deerback, and the Statesmen are the first ones, or correction, tie the ball game up. Tyrell could not recover that one cleanly, and Yates gets another pitch going away from him.
Yeah, this is, I mean, he's going to have to regain his control in this inning, especially with those two runners in scoring position. A wild pitch, definitely not something you want there. Now the task is to avert further damage.
Yeah, Calvin Deerback, that substitution clearly coming through as he comes around. And now we've got a 1-1 ball game. Yates, 2-2 pitch, comes set, high, good take from Alexander, and the count full.
Another big-time moment for Yates. And again, this time, if you get a strikeout here or retire the batter Alexander without the runner going home, it's 2 outs and averts a sac fly situation. So this is key.
Yeah, 3-2 pitch, high and inside. Calvin Yates getting a little jumpy now as the Statesmen have runners on the corners.
Walk, fielder's choice, walk to start the inning. And that's, with runners on the corners, I mean, definitely time for a mound visit. And, I mean, could Yates be done here? Coach Pudge is coming out. I don't think he typically comes out unless it's to take the ball.
Yeah, Calvin, 4 walks, or correction, 4 so far in this ball game for Yates. As obviously not going to plan, as now Pudge visits with him on the mound and clearly saying something to Yates.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, pardon me, because it looks like Cale Yates might not be out of the game yet. Coach Pudge has not taken the ball. Typically, when he comes out there, it is to remove the pitcher, but this early in the game, it looks like he's more just trying to pump up his guy. So, I mean, if I were him, I'd be talking to him and, you know, trying to motivate him at the same time, but he definitely realizes that his coach and his team, they have a lot of confidence in him for what he did last year, and just hoping that carries over into this game.
Yeah, Calvin, obviously, for Yates, not immune to the burn. Yates used to the pressure. He competed last year at the regional championship for football, and now he's playing at a big level, varsity baseball, pitching, and so far the biggest game for the Warhawks as he comes set for the first pitch, and that one a bunt missed, and the throw over to second from Tyrell, sliding just under that safely, Cal Alexander.
That was really, really
and
close.
They call a batter's interference, Calvin. Alexander is called out, and the Warhawks now situation Much better. 2 down.
That's good recognition there on your part. I didn't see that right away, but yeah, with two outs now, that is a huge play in terms of making it so that the Warhawks now they don't have to be so far in on the infield. They can go for the force at second or get a guy out at first, even if it's in play.
Yeah, first and third play now for Tyrell being drawn up. 2 down. Alexander trots back to first. Sharon now called out because of the batter's interference. Is stepping in now, Ethan Moore.
Yeah, he hit one hard his first time up. We'll see what he's got here.
So Tyrell calls time to call his first and third play. 2 down for the Warhawks. Yates a little break there. As he comes set for the first pitch of this at bat. Yates comes set. 2 down, runners on the corners. First at pitch 2 more is taken away and in the zone as Yates gets ahead now 0-1.
Very, very good pitch there.
Yates now all of a sudden after that hitter's interference has control. Throw over to first. Great tag from Papathanassiou and just sliding in safely is Alexander.
Yeah, they are, with whether it's Tyrell throwing a second or Yates right here just firing over to first. It has been big time for the Warhawks in terms of these attempts to get guys out in the base paths.
Yeah, Yates comes set now. 1-0 pitch, 2 down. Once again, throws over to first and barely missing the tag there in time. Papathanassiou is. So all of a sudden, they're striking a message into Cal Alexander, you cannot go.
Yeah, he's thrown over twice in a row now, as now we'll see if Yates goes to the plate.
Yeah, put some dirt on Alexander's pants as he still takes a huge lead over at first, and he's going. Tyrell, great pitch there from Yates, but sliding in safely at second. Alexander, and the count now even, or correction, 0-2 in Yates' favor. Alexander got a good jump, slid in the second safely, and Tyrell clearly on that first and third play wanted the pump fake, and he got his wish, but Alexander slides into second lately. Yates now comes set. The pitch. Bounce trickled into the infield as no runners interference. Oh, they call time. Let's see what this is.
Maybe did they say it was foul initially? That could be just a foul ball.
Yeah, it appeared to bounce off home plate, so we'll reset. 2 strikes for Yates.
Yeah, and I believe the first pitch actually was a ball, so we're at 1 ball and 2 strikes, despite a very good location on the first pitch. I thought it was just off the outside corner.
Yeah, thanks for the correction, Calvin. 1-2 count. 0-2 rather. As Moore now comes set. Yates comes set. The pitch. Good location there, but Moore did not bite as the count will go to 1-2.
Yeah, now I'm lost because I heard the umpire a couple pitches ago did signal 1-0, so maybe it was a mistake of him looking up at the scoreboard. So now it is 1-2. So apologies for correcting you when you were correct.
Yates comes set. The pitch. Good location. Good spot. He got him. Kill Yates in some trouble. No problem. No pressure. The Warhawks, unfortunately, ball game tied up 1-1 now. But when we come back, it'll be Tyrell, DeSimone, and Yates. Calvin, here on my part, it'll be a Roscoe leading off for the Warhawks. Then we'll have Tyrell and DeSimone. So the last three hitters stepping in. A Roscoe down a spot in the batting order after Tuff's strong performance yesterday. As pitch outside there from Grossman. Good take from Roscoe. The count at 1-0.
In the bottom of the second inning.
Calvin, we mentioned yesterday, or correction, 2 days ago on the broadcast, that Roscoe, one of the guys with great eyes, good at taking pitches. As we'll see how he implements this into his at-bat here against Grossman, and another good take in the dirt as the count now 2-0.
Yeah, he's got good eye and really, really good at making contact. Those are the two big things about Hector Roscoe. Of course, had another offseason under his belt. He was a very, very regular player in center field last year, so excited to watch more of him this year.
Grossman comes set 2-0 pitch once again away as he's losing some control, similar to what we saw Yates have last inning. And the count 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Grossman's playing a little bit of match Cale Yates here because, I mean, in inning number one, he matched that velocity for sure. But as soon as Cale Yates got a little bit wild with his pitches, so did Grossman. And 3-0 count, this is the spot you want to be if you're Hector Roscoe.
Yeah, obviously two of the better pitchers in Northern Virginia. A Roscoe, 3-0 count. Grossman comes set. Let's see if he has the green light and strike just inside as a Roscoe is ready to take ball 4 there. But the count will be 3-1.
Changes the circumstance just a little bit. You have to think a Roscoe might be looking to swing here.
Okay, Grossman working quicker this at bat. Oh, beautiful pitch there. 3-2 count now.
I mean, yeah, that was just, nice breaking ball, a slider making its way back right over the heart of the plate, and it baffled a Roscoe for sure.
3-2 count. A Roscoe, great job fighting fouls that one behind the plate as we reset 3-2 count.
Yeah, Roscoe also good at extending those at-bats. So this is going to be the 7th pitch of it, and we'll see if he can bring it along even more or put it in play.
Grossman, Calvin, similar to Yates, some of the better pitchers in Northern Virginia as the full count for Yates last inning wasn't a problem. Let's see if it is here for Grossman, and he finds the inside corner. A Roscoe once again ready for a walk, but great location from Grossman leads to the first out and his first strikeout of the inning.
Yeah, great pitch there, and great job battling back from the 3-0 count. Now he faces Tyrell, Tyrell had gone down a couple spots in the order as for last game, but he's definitely still a threat from the plate.
Yeah, Calvin Grossman's first strikeout of the ballgame is now Tyrell steps into the dish as, once again, another slicing breaking ball from Grossman, this time just inside. Good take from Tyrell, sets the count at 1-0. On deck for the Warhawks, Cole DeSimone. Grossman comes set 1-0 pitch, dribbled foul by Tyrell as the count will be even now 1-1. And Calvin, we saw a good amount of Tyrell last year, playing some more catcher this year. How do you think he's done so far?
I think he's done great, particularly behind the plate, but we saw him get on base last game, still seeking that first hit, though.
Yeah, as a line drive shot over to second, fielded cleanly by Schroen, and over to first, salvo, good play. As the Statesmen now, Calvin, working quickly, 2 outs already in this inning.
Yeah, and it's all up to Cole DeSimone here, but that was a well-hit ball from Tyrell, just happened to not hit him where they ate. And, great, nice play by Schroen at second base.
Yeah, so DeSimone, the lefty-righty advantage here, is stepping in towards the grass for the Statesmen. Third baseman Ethan Moore. Coming set, Grossman, pitch outside. And outside the zone, that good job from DeSimone not swinging, keeping his patience and his presence, and the count now 1-0.
Yeah, this game now back to feeling like it could go either way. Of course, with the run in the top of the second by Marshall, now they're dominant on the mound. This is how they wanted to swing the momentum. They do have a guy warming up in the bullpen, though, which is interesting.
Yes, they do. Calvin is swinging and missing on that one. Good pitch by Grossman. As that changeup found the zone, got DeSimone swinging, and the count now 1-1. Calvin Grossman, unlike Yates, has struggled to get ahead in counts, or it's kind of vice versa for Yates as a take there from DeSimone. As this at bat, he's not struggling to get ahead. Beautiful pitch, 1-2 count.
He is doing a really, really nice job of locating those breaking balls, and now he's 1 strike away from getting out of the inning.
Yeah, Calvin Grossman, scary. Coming set now, 1-2 pitch, high fly, fouled. Correction, that is in play as Salvo moves away and fielding that one, catching the flyout, Schroen. So the Statesmen get their third out of the inning, and this one remains a 1-1 ball game.
for Marshall. Top of the third inning.
Bro, just take it. I'm going to.
Top of the third, Nathan Lake steps up to the box. He walked his first time up, so we get to see him up again after the last inning ended on a batter interference and then a strikeout. Yates winds and delivers. That one's hit hard. It almost making the play. There is Chase Dorsey. It goes into center. Hard to say whether that would be scored a base hit or an error, which is actually critical because the Warhawks to that point had not allowed a hit this season.
Yeah, Calvin, I think that one's going to be scored as a base hit. Would have taken a diving play there from Dorsey. Unfortunate moment for it to happen in this big rivalry game, but still just a single.
Yeah, so the Warhawks had gone. I mean, the Mercy Rule game was only 5 innings. It was a Mercy Rule against Potomac Falls last game, so it took 7 innings for the Warhawks to allow their first hit. Now Miller, who reached on an error his first time up, is at the dish. Here's the pitch. It's low. Throw goes to second. Nice one by Tyrell. Did they get him? They did! Way to wipe off the first hit of the season. He is gone from the base paths. One away, and Kyle Tyrell showing his mettle behind the plate.
He sees some action so far today behind the dish and finally gets his first base runner lacking of the season. Beautiful play. And now, because of that batter's interference, which he might have sold a little bit in, that play.
Beautiful play under a beautiful sunset here as that one's fouled off into the parking lot. We already had 1 car hit this season. It doesn't look like we're going to have 2, at least for the moment. Count even at 1-1 as Miller steps back into the box. Score is tied here at James Madison High School in the top of the third. Yates, high, kicking the pitch, chopped over to third. Navarro chases in, handles it cleanly, fires to Papathanassiou, who does a nice job tagging out the runner, who almost got there to first because Papathanassiou leapt off the bag. That is just a really, really heads-up play.
Yeah,
Very
Calvin,
impressive.
One of the best plays I've seen defensively in quite a bit of time. A wild throw from Navarro. Papathanassiou did not let it get the best of him, and a beautiful tag there on Miller.
It's little things like that that help support your pitcher, too, as Salvo, who grounded out his first time up, takes the pitch high and away.
Yeah, this was a battle in the first inning. These two fought several pitches. I believe the at-bat went on for 8 pitches to be exact. We'll see what Yates and Salvo have in stock for us here.
Yates on the mound, Salvo at the plate. Here's the 1-0. Wind in the pitch. It is high. 2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs, and the score tied at 1 apiece. Yates looking in, doing his full windup here. He winds high, leg kick right down the middle. That is what we're used to seeing from him when he's really locating his fastball really well. 2 balls and a strike. Working quickly again. Salvo, the lefty, stands in. Here's the wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Could the Warhawks get out of this one after just a few minutes? It's very possible.
Yeah, Yates' location, Calvin, pinpoint this one.
Going to try to do it again. 2-2. Tyrell sets up the pitch. Chopped over to second. Cord Yates is on top of it. He handles a very odd bounce really, really nicely. He was not going to commit another error there. And Salvo grounds out. So not a 1-2-3 inning, but a single. The runner was thrown out at second, and then a couple of ground outs. We're going to go to the bottom of the third. This one tied at 1 apiece. Back in the bottom of the third for the top of the order, and Sam, we have a new pitcher, the hard-throwing Nathan Lake.
Yeah, Calvin, you see that size, that height that he has over there on the mound with southpaw. He throws straight velo. He's going to be tough for the Warhawks to hit, despite the fact they have Yates and Navarro leading off this inning. But in particular, I think they brought him in for Tondrell and Papathanassiou, two dominating lefties. It's going to be a rough matchup for them.
Yeah, so Grossman's final line, he pitched to 9 batters over 2 innings, allowed 1 run, but did pretty well overall, I would say. Didn't allow any super big hits. And Cord Yates, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out, is going to step up in just a moment. Game tied at 1. This is a big-time rivalry game. Of course, Sam, we both attend Madison. We understand the importance of this rivalry to both the players and the coaches alike. But Madison and Marshall, this is always the game you want to come to. If you're going to have to pick 1 or 2 games of the season for the Warhawks, it's going to the one against Oakton and the one against Marshall.
Yeah, Calvin, you see Pudge over there. He is used to this matchup, and he is most certainly not going to let the pressure get to him.
Lake will try not to let the pressure get into him either, as Yates bunts that one just foul down the third baseline. And Coach Pudge, as is typical in these matchups, holds the experience in terms of coaches. Mike Noyes is on the other side for Marshall in his 4th season as head coach. He was hired prior to the canceled 2020 season, but has coached 4 seasons since then, including a 15-9 Marshall team last year. He's done a very, very good job as that pitch is popped up, foul. It's trying to track toward the dugout. Looks like it'll drop out of play and just hits the net. It's going to avoid car number 2 of the season. So
yeah, Calvin Yates being a little more aggressive than normal this at bat, looking for his second base knock of the year.
Yeah, he had a single last game. Try to add to that here. Count is 0-2 with nobody out. Lake looks in, still looking in. He's working a little slower than his counterpart Grossman. The delivery gets away. That was almost strike 3, just a little bit outside of the zone. Count is 1-2, and there'll be a quick meeting at the mound.
Yeah, Calvin, one thing with Lake, despite the fact that he is quite the flamethrower, his pitches can occasionally get away from him. Obviously, we see that a lot with players of high velocity, specifically at the big league level. You know, Aroldis Chapman, someone very similar to Lake, a player comp there at its best, but 2 tall lefties who throw the ball hard and can be a little wild at times.
Yeah, I like the big league comp. I think Nathan Lake would like it too if he heard that one. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It is high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Calvin, now Yates being patient, a little bit of a mixture of this at bat. We'll see what happens on the 3-2 count.
Count even. Here comes the set. The kick and the pitch popped up in the parking lot. Looks like it hit the pavement, avoiding a car once again. That one was much closer, though, as Yates fighting to stay alive. These long at-bats are so key.
Yeah, Calvin, so far, so lucky today with the cars.
Nobody's going to go home with a dented windshield or anything of the sort so far. 2-2 pitch. That one pops away. Count is full. Stepping back in is Cord Yates. 3-2 count. Nobody out, nobody on. Lake throws. Hits him in the rear. And Yates is going to take first, hit by a pitch, reaching base for the second time this season, and the Warhawks are fired up in the dugout.
Yeah, hard 90 over to first for Yates, as he's used to those hits. Obviously played football for all 4 years of high school, but great take there, and he gave Lake a little stare after that one.
Yeah, and not only is he a Warhawk, so we already know he's tough. He's a Warhawk football player. He can take it. He's already up and ready to steal second if he can. Yeah. As Lake comes set. Navarro was hit by a pitch his first time up. Swings and misses. That's the heat that you're talking about right there.
Yeah, it certainly is, Calvin. Lake saw some varsity action last year as a sophomore, and he's one of, as I mentioned, the 3 key pitchers for this Statesmen rotation, who is going to have to come up big this year.
Navarro signaled bunt. Going to be a strike there as he did not pull the bat back in time. Count is 0-2, and Lake will either try to turn 2 here or at least get a strikeout.
Yeah, Calvin, it's a big at bat for the Warhawks. Last righty batter until after the next 2. So
diving back is Yates. He gets there safely. He was taking some massive leads over there. We can tell he really wants to steal a base. The current stolen base leader with 3. Dives back again. That one was in the dirt. Barely getting back is Yates, as Vince Salvo did a nice job of handling it. Nathan Lake, the lefty, has his eyes on him, and Yates still trying to stand up here as time is called.
Yeah, Calvin, a little bit of an easier pickoff for Lake, rather. Obviously looking over to first from that left side of the pitcher.
0-2. He goes. The pitch tipped into the mitt of the catcher who fires it over to second. Miller cannot get him as the base is stolen there, but it is a strikeout for Henry Navarro. So 1 away, but Cord Yates is in scoring position.
Yeah, Calvin, thankfully, nice production on the base path for Yates slides to second safely, but this is where the Statesmen want to emphasize on Lake's capabilities. Lefty-lefty for the Warhawks facing a lefty.
Yeah, and that's Nico Papathanassiou, who struck out his first time up. Lake motioning at his catcher. Now looking in to try to get signs. Still looking. He likes it. Now he's going to come set. Looking back at the second base bag and throws to Papathanassiou. Breaking ball in for a strike. There's the first mega breaking ball in terms of movement that we've seen from him. Looks like that can definitely vary those pitches.
Yeah, Calvin, the Statesmen taking a little risk here. Potentially their two best pitchers that they had available in today's ball game with Salvo pitching earlier this week, both taking the bump.
Yeah, now Lake delivers. That one's hit into the dirt and foul. Count is 0-2 with 1 out and the runner, Cord Yates, on second.
Yeah, that one might have gotten a piece of Papathanassiou's foot.
Hard to tell. I mean, he didn't grimace or anything. So if it did, he's certainly toughing it out as he gets back into the batter's box. The lefty-lefty matchup here. Lake talking to his catcher, and now comes set. Time is called, and Papathanassiou steps out. Probably a few more fans in attendance at this one than at the game on Tuesday. Of course, what you would expect from a crosstown rivalry game. Marshall High School, just about 10-15 minutes from here. 0-2 with 1 out. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball didn't quite make its way back. And now it's 1-2 with 1 away. Yates will start to step off second. Another mound visit here as Papathanassiou will now walk back toward the on-deck circle. Looks like clear skies as the sun has set just short of 7:30 p.m. Temperature's still just really, really nice out here, and it's not even spring yet, but it feels like it is.
Yeah, Calvin, this week's been tremendous.
Papathanassiou steps back in. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Yates off second. Lake off the mound as the center fielder, Cal Alexander, was jogging in. The 1-2, chopped foul into the backstop, and one of the bench coaches for Marshall's going to come out and get it.
Yeah, Papathanassiou staying alive with the 1-2 count. They get back for the Warhawks looking to take a lead in Tundra on deck.
Yeah, that's a good point that you have there. I mean, 2 experienced hitters going back-to-back, especially Nico Papathanassiou. 1-2, away, it's wild, and Yates, he'll have third. He is 1 base away, 90 feet from getting the Warhawks their second run of the game with 1 out. And this is how we saw them get their run back in the first, by stealing bases and getting in position to score. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Noise coming from both dugouts in the crowd. Lake looks in. Infield is in. Yates takes a lead. Papathanassiou at the dish. The pitch. Chopped just foul down the first base line. Nice job chasing it down by Salvo, but he did not need to as this count stays at 2-2.
Yeah, Calvin Papathanassiou fighting off these pitches until he gets one that he knows he can drive.
Yeah, and that could be sooner rather than later given the power that we know he possesses as there are 2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out in the inning. Here it goes. Just outside and a little bit low. 3 balls and 2 strikes now, and looks like the umpire giving the catcher Miller a new ball to give back to Lake. Lake, of course, coming in this 3rd inning, if you're just tuning in after Noah Grossman pitched 2. It's a 1-1 game here in the bottom of the 3rd at Madison High School. Very tight in this rivalry matchup. The runner, Yates, is on 3rd. Here's the pitch. Hit hard to second. Schroen has it. He's going to throw it home, and it's close, but Yates dives in under the tag, and Papathanassiou gets to first safely. So the Warhawks score another. It's Madison 2 and Marshall 1.
Yeah, Calvin Papathanassiou putting the ball in play. Yates utilizing that speed, and he's able to stand on first safely now, and the Warhawks 2-1.
So Papathanassiou going to be able to get a hit there. And now coming up is Nathan Tundrell, who singled his first time up and then stole second, So 1 out and a runner on first now. Warhawks up 2-1. They have not trailed this season in any game. Pitch is low, just at the knees for a strike on Tundrell, who pitched 3 2/3 last game, didn't allow a hit. Now looking to get it done in the batter's box.
Yeah, Calvin, Lake's so hard to see from that left-handed batter's box because not only do you have the lefty-lefty matchup, but against taller guys in particular.
That one's chopped foul into the bench. Yeah, that's a great point, though. I mean, of course, the right-hander Grossman getting replaced with the left-hander Lake was also very, very hard throwing. And as we saw with guys like Nico Papathanassiou and Nathan Tundrell, can be tough to hit off those hard-throwing lefties. 0-2 with 1 out. Short lead for Papathanassiou. He's going to go. That pitch is low, and it gets away from Miller, and Papathanassiou swipes second. Coach Pudge is so unrelenting on the base paths, and, I mean, he's been telling his first and third base coaches before every game, make these guys run. We're not going to stop.
Yeah, Calvin Papathanassiou, despite being a power bat, great speed. We saw him with a triple yesterday, and he was turning those bases hard and slides into second safely.
Swing and a miss, though, for strike 3. So 2 outs in the inning as Tundrell gets Chase Dorsey, still looking for his first hit on the year, steps up. He has 3 walks and a strikeout, or actually not a strikeout, but a ground out on the season. So he'll look to add to that with his first ball put in play for a hit. That pitch is just outside, but he has had a very good eye so far in these at-bats as it's 1-0.
Yeah, Calvin, despite being a sophomore, he's used to these opportunities. He saw plenty of playing time yesterday, plenty of opportunities, and now with the runner on second, looking for his first big RBI of the year.
This would be big time with a runner in scoring position. That one is a strike. Dorsey standing very close to the plate, had to lean away from it, but it just touched the inside edge. 1-1 with 2 outs. Lake looks in. Dorsey's at the plate. Carter Tuft on deck. Runner standing just off second base is Papathanassiou with a lot of dirt on his uniform in the bottom of the third. He goes the pitch, swung on and missed. Throw to third will not come as Miller held onto it, and Papathanassiou takes another one.
Yeah, Calvin, great base stealing from him. Now the pressure's on Dorsey.
Absolutely, with his man just 90 feet away with 2 outs, 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the set. And the delivery popped up high. Looks like they're going to have to track it down at the pitcher's mound. It's Lake who drops it. Lake dropped it. And that is huge because it's going to allow the man at the plate, Dorsey, to get to first on an error and a run to score. It's the Warhawks 3 and Marshall 1.
Yeah, Calvin, great performance so far from Lake today. That one looked like it was coming to us for a second, but he couldn't come down with that one as the Warhawks dugout gets inside of his head.
That's a crusher for Marshall right there, and especially for the pitcher, Lake, who had him out of the inning, just had to make the catch, but didn't seem to quite be in position as Tuft steps up, and that one misses for a ball 1. We heard a lot of noise from that Warhawks dugout as Chase Dorsey should consider himself lucky to be on base right now.
Yeah, Calvin, let's see if it gets inside the Lake's head with Tuft at the dish now, one of the better hitters this season for the Warhawks.
Set for Lake. He looks over to first. Runner gets back safely. 1-0 count with 2 outs. Tuft steps back in. Dorsey taking a lead. Lake throws over again. Salvo has control. Sends it back to the mound. Tuft with a single and a double this season. Popped out his first time up. Here's the delivery. Swing and a miss. He chased and couldn't quite get his bat around to it. 1-1.
Yeah, great location there from Lake.
Now, runner on first base. Dorsey taking a lead. Here's the set. Dorsey taking an even bigger lead. And the pitch is inside. Brushes back the batter. Gets away from Miller. And Dorsey says, I'll take second and do a big banana turn around there too, just in case Miller thought about taking his time. 2-1 is the count.
Yeah, now Lake getting a little wild. 2-1 count. Tuft at the dish. You got to wonder where the concern is. Is it on the base runner or is it on the hitter?
Yeah, I think it's definitely at least it remains to be seen after this at bat, but it's easy to get something like what happened on the last play in Lake's head after dropping pop-up. Seems unfazed, though. gets it right down the middle. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on second. Marshall trying to limit the damage. They're down by 2, and you can't go down big to this Warhawks team, especially on the road. Pitch, swing, and a foul tip into the mid of Miller, and it's strike 3. So Marshall averts any further damage, but they trail by 2. They'll be up at the top of the 4th after this.
Stepping in for the Statesmen now, Calvin, Noah Grossman, who was removed last inning from the ball game for Nathan Lake. And still on the mound for the Warhawks, Cale Yates, as Grossman steps in for the first pitch of his at-bat. Yates comes set, and that one fouled back. Papa Thomas, you're not going to be able to make a play on that one.
Oh, man. How did that one not hit a car, Sam?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, Calvin. Are you a little surprised Yates still in this ball game, or you think the performance is worth keeping him in?
I'm not surprised. I think it seems like the Warhawks think they have enough depth at the pitching spot. But especially since they're not playing till next Tuesday, I think it was more key for Coach Pudge to not have these guys can be completely unavailable for Thursday rather. But they're not going to have another game for a little while.
Yeah, ball there, high and away. Or inside rather from Yates, 1-1 count. As that one driven by Grossman to left field, and it drops for a base knock. Grossman hard turnover at first. And he stands over there as the single for Grossman. Now, Calvin, we can assure that the Warhawks have given up a hit this season. And despite being removed as a pitcher, Grossman an assured bat.
Yeah, and I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the first official hit took place last inning with Lake, but the first hit where it was very clearly a hit took place just now with Noah Grossman.
Yeah, Calvin Yates, first time we've seen him in these later innings in quite a bit of time. As he checks over to first, Grossman slides in safely. And it's starting to get away from him a little bit. We'll see how he recovers, though, as Cale utilized his arm in football for 4 quarters. Now Pudge looking to go for him for more than probably 4 innings as his pitch there. Well located. Good framing from Tyrell. And the count now at 0-1.
Yeah, so, of course, he's facing off against Will Thomas. Thomas had that walk his first time up. Still looking to put the ball in play.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Thomas with the walk first time he was up. Did not come around to score. Yates checks once again on Grossman. Good tackle from Papa Thomas. See you too little too late as he slides back in safely. And the Statesmen will still have their runner over at first. We've seen Yates, Lake, and Grossman combined check over on first a whole lot as his pitch there once again blowing by Thomas. And the count now 0-2. Calvin, you can imagine how pumped Yates would be with this strikeout. The control getting away from him a little. But this at-bat has been a masterclass as Yates now 0-2 count. Well located from where Tyrell was lined up, but outside and away. And that'll put the count in 1-2.
Thomas is still alive, but it's just hanging on. It's still a favorable count for Cale Yates.
Yeah, Yates, 1-2 count. 3-1 the Warhawks with the lead as he checks over to first. Once again, third time this at bat, but Noah Grossman once again sliding in safely.
I mean, if you're Noah Grossman, got to be pleased with the Warhawks treating you as an all-around threat. At the mound, at the dish, and on the base paths. He can do it all.
Yeah, he shortens his lead quite a bit. Yates comes set, 1-2 pitch. Dribbled over towards Yates. Yates makes a play on it. He'll go to first for the force play, and he gets away from Papathanassiou. Tyrell now has to recover it, as the Statesmen will have runners on the corners after the error from Yates. And all of a sudden, Yates in some trouble after an error by his brother, Calvin.
Yeah, and that is Cale Yates' second error this game. Cord Yates' second error this game, I should say. Shouldn't confuse the two. But what we see now is runners on the corners, nobody out, and, I mean, a play that Cale Yates had to hustle to make turned into a little bit more of a disaster for the Warhawks as Marshall has the game-tying run standing at first.
Yeah, Calvin, obviously, Cord not going to let that get the best of him. Earlier in the game, recovered from the error with a forced play, as that one would have been tough, as he was, with Grossman stealing, moving over to the second base bag. As Yates now in some trouble, facing Ryan Morse, checks over to first once again, fourth time this inning. As Papathanassiou cannot make the tag in time, as the Statesmen remain with runners on the corners. Yates comes set. As now early steal from the Statesmen, and Thomas able to stand up at second safely. Yates did not see that one coming, and now they have two runners in scoring position.
Yeah, I mean, he was flying early. That's like one of those steals. That was one of those like early runs that you have to be able to steal home on any sort of play. That's where Yates just was not looking. So great job by Thomas picking his spot there.
Yeah, Calvin. Statesman playing some small ball now. Runners in scoring position, 2 at that. Yates comes set, 1-0 pitch. Swung on, driven foul behind the plate, as the count will now even at 1-0. Seen a lot of up and down so far for Cale. He seemed to recover, though, pretty well so far, as just one run allowed through 3 full innings. Yates now comes set, 1-1 pitch. Almost got away from Tyrell. Good block. And he got more swinging, as now the count in favor of Yates.
Really, really good job again by Tyrell. Not the first time we've seen him save a base this game.
Yeah, Calvin, I mean, he's done a great job all year in both the first 2 games, blocking practically anything that comes at him. He's also done a great job framing in particular today. He's saved Yates of a couple of balls.
Yeah, now, I mean, what a jam he's in with runners on second and third and nobody out. Tough spot if you're the pitcher, and with runners in scoring position, one hit could tie this game.
Yeah, Calvin. So it'll be Morris coming back in now. 1-2 count. Yates on the bump. Both sides rather chirping. Yates comes set. 1-2 pitch. Popped up foul. Is Tyrell going to be able to make a play on it? He's tracking it down near the fences. And it initially popped out of his glove and then goes back into it. 2 down now for the Warhawks as Yates gives Tyrell a fist pump.
What a catch. Looking like a wide receiver out there, able to corral the ball even after it popped out of his glove. I think Cord would be proud of that one, Sam.
Yeah, most certainly potentially recruiting Tyrell now to play receiver next year. But that one was a tough one to track. I mean, as someone who's played catcher a little bit, it's really hard when it comes near the fence. And in particular, when it pops out of your glove, a lot of people give up on it, and maybe that's a little bit of that Pudge mentality, as Tyrell able to track that one down shortly after. So now Cal Alexander, the man for the Statesmen, who has a chance to tie this one up. 2 runners in scoring position. Yates' first pitch of the at-bat with 1 down. And that one shot up the middle. It drops for Alexander. Scoring for the Statesmen is Thomas. Correction, Grossman. Now over at third, Thomas and Cal Alexander. Big base knock, and he gives the Statesmen runners on the corners and cuts the lead to 1 run.
He's arguably been the most productive offensive player so far. Now with the walk and the single for Marshall, they're within 1. That's a big hit. And Sam, could we see Cale Yates' day being done? It looks like Coach Pudge is coming out there.
Yeah, Pudge is coming out. Obviously, Yates used to coming out of the bullpen. I'm sure this is not an easy one for him to get used to. A good day nonetheless for him as Pudge meets with him over on the bump. They're talking for a little while. So we'll see what ends up happening with the ball.
Yeah, just a big time hit from Cal Alexander, though. That's what the contact you want. Straight up the middle. nothing to it, and only drove in 1 run, of course, because of a good play by Orozco out in center. But nonetheless, Marshall still knocking on the door with 1 out. Could have a sac fly to tie the game, could have another hit to tie the game, and they have multiple runners on bases. There goes Kale. He's going to be replaced.
Yeah, Calvin, the Warhawks going from Yates over to the man who we saw get the ball last game. No hits given up. That is Jackson Bordeaux, the southpaw left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, and one of the things that was really, really key about last game in Jackson Bordeaux only pitching for a little bit of time, I guess it was 1 1/3 innings last game because of the mercy rule, is now he's available for this game despite having pitched on Tuesday. And that's big because outside of maybe Cale Yates, Jackson Bordeaux is the top returning reliever for the Madison Warhawks.
Yeah, Calvin Bordeaux warming up. A little wild of a first pitch, but hopefully a big outing for him. Yates a little bit shorter than he probably would have liked it. We had expected, but nonetheless, 3 1/3 strong innings. Calvin, 2 runs given up. And he definitely had some huge peak moments for the Warhawks.
Yeah, it's a first start. You don't expect somebody to be perfect coming out on their first start, especially when it's a guy like Kale who's used to coming out of the bullpen. You could tell in the 3rd or 4th innings, maybe he was losing his control just a little bit, but it means it's the time to go to a guy like Jackson Bordeaux, who is very, very good at locating his pitches. We talked about it with Coach Pudge before the game, and he specifically talked about how after Nathan Tondrell came out of the game, Jackson came in and did what he does best, which is locating his pitches in the strike zone. He is really, really good at that.
Yeah, Calvin, especially at this high school level, you want guys who are more efficient and can locate those pitches well. Bordeaux, especially from the left-handed side, does that to a excellent level.
Yeah, and he's going to face William Strowan first, who was called out on a batter's interference, also flied out. Those were his first 2 times up. And runners on the corners, what do you think Strowan's thinking as he steps up to the box?
I mean, Calvin, he's probably looking to put the ball in play. Obviously, being the second baseman he is, he's known for his speed, infamous for that at Marshall. But we will see what ends up happening. Bordeaux looking great in these warm-ups, locating these pitches rather to perfection.
We need that vehicle to turn the lights off. Got a vehicle parked beside the visitors' dugout up against the fence with the lights
So Tyrell
on.
now telling Bordeaux he is ready as we are waiting for the lights near the awaited dugout, or the visiting dugout rather, to be turned off.
Yeah, somebody's got their headlights on. And there's like a spy operation or something parked right up against the fence, shining their lights on the field. And I mean, I guess Jackson Bordeaux, I can't tell if that's affecting the field of play or not. Looks like they're going to keep it going, but we'll see how Bordeaux starts off this at-bat.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that, but he's pitching from the left-handed side. So it's facing right at him, but clearly not affecting him there as he gets thrown looking. 0-1 count now for Bordeaux. The headlights of the car still on Calvin as Jackson Bordeaux now comes set. 0-1 count. He throws over to first. Tremendous shot. Papathanassiou over to second. They get the runner out. Now looking home as the Statesmen sliding in safely as Thomas, as a trade both sides may take. No runners on base now, but the Statesmen able to tie that game, now the game up with Will Thomas sliding into home safely. Cal.
Yeah, so Will Thomas ends up stealing home there, of course, but that is big because they did get Cal Alexander out at second. So a trade-off there, but I mean, a good trade-off for Marshall because it does tie the game.
Yeah, Calvin, we saw Bordeaux do that once in Tuesday's affair. He does that there. Great job, great pickoff move. As that a great breaking pitch. 0-2 count now, Calvin. Location perfect.
Location. It is pinpoint. Already on the first batter, getting it up to 0-2.
Yeah, Calvin. 0-2 count now. Thrown ready. Bordeaux set. The pitch. Swung on and missed. Bordeaux's pumped. And the Warhawks third out of the inning. So 2 runs for the Statesmen, but Bordeaux comes in and closes this inning away. As now we got a tied ball game heading into the bottom half of the 4th. Calvin now stepping in for the Warhawks. Hector Orozco, and a couple of changes within the infield. Obviously, with Noah Grossman being pulled out, it'll be behind the plate now for the Statesmen Trone, and over at second, Joey Deerback. As we mentioned, Hector, quite the contact hitter. As he steps in now with the lefty-righty matchup in his favor.
Yeah, this will be an exciting one to see. And Hector Orozco, always so good at making contact at the plate. We'll see if he can do that here.
Something that is causing a delay in this game as Lake's throwing over with the third baseman for the Statesmen, with that being Ethan Moore. But now we'll resume play as they were waiting for the home plate umpire. But Orozco steps in nonetheless. And the first pitch of the inning as Lake comes set. Driven foul down that third base line. No car based off the sounds of it, and the count will be 0-1.
Yeah, actually, I think that sounded like it might have bounced off the wall and hit the top of a car, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, maybe didn't sound like damage, didn't sound like shattering. We have not heard shattering yet.
Yeah, no shattering yet from cars as Lake comes set. That pitch beautiful just inside, and Orozco with that great eye of his takes a ball as it'll be 1-1.
Yeah, so Orozco, of course, struck out his last time up, walked in his first game, and this is a big spot. The game is tied, so if you're Madison, you want to start off the inning super strong here.
Yeah, as you said, the game is tied 3-3. Lake comes set. Pitch. Orozco once again fouls one back to seemingly where he does all the time, the right field side, just behind home plate, and the count will be 1-2. So Lake will come set. 1-2 pitch. Orozco stepping in. Once again, right behind home plate towards that right field side as the count remains 1-2.
Slowly wearing down the pitcher, Lake here. And it's going to be interesting to see how William Schroen does here at catcher because he swapped with Deerback. So Deerback was not in the game. Schroen replaced Miller at catcher, and Deerback came to second. So it's interesting that the mid-game catcher switch happened. We'll see how Schroen does in that role.
Yeah, Orozco now has to get away from that one as the count will be 2-2.
Gazing out in the center there. Definitely where he wants to pop one, right in front of Cal Alexander.
Yeah, Calvin, the dugouts have quieted down quite a bit as Orozco swings and misses as Lake with his first strikeout and out of the inning. He gets Orozco swinging.
Yeah, now it's Kyle Tyrell, and that's how you want to start if you're Lake. That velocity continuing to affect these batters, and we'll see how Tyrell handles it as he takes a big hack outside the box.
Yeah, Tyrell now stepping in. He struggled not behind the plate. He's actually been excellent behind the plate, but in the batter's box so far this year as he drives one to right field. That one might get a car. It does not, but Tyrell definitely made some solid contact on that one as the count will be 0-1.
That's the type that would go into a side window. That was flying off the bat.
Yeah, Calvin. Interesting to see DeSimone remaining in the game. Obviously, lefty-lefty matchup, although Pudge might favor his power as Tyrell once again fouls one back to the right field side. As it'll be a 0-2 count. Tyrell, obviously, great eye. You'd imagine he's going to do a good job here extending this at bat. But as if right now, the count 0-2. Lake comes set, one down, looking for a second strikeout of the inning. The pitch. Dribbled up to the shortstop for Marshall as making a play. Will Thomas. And he barely gets Tyrell out in time. So it'll be 2 down now for DeSimone.
Yeah, and Tyrell, a couple of ground outs now so far. But that's just a really nice job by Will Thomas. When it's a slow dribbler, I mean, he had to make the choice. Do you want to make a throw on the run, running in to get it, or stay there? He stayed mostly in his shortstop position, but just made a very, very fast throw to first. And props to Vince Salvo for handling it well.
Yeah, Calvin, notable pick there that I did not mention from Vincent Salvo as taking one away there, Cole DeSimone, and the count 1-0. So Lake, very similar to Grossman, does not quite get ahead of counts and does not get strikes early in the at-bat, but when he finally gets going in the at-bat, he is filthy, as all DeSimone can do there is dribble one away, and the count now 1-1.
And that's what's tough about the lefty-lefty matchup is that fastball in on the hands. It's tough to react to. It feels like much faster reaction time that you have to have almost to hit that pitch. And nice job by DeSimone fighting it off.
Yeah, Calvin here in the bottom of the fourth. 3-3 ball game. 1-1 pitch. Gets away from Lake as Schroen could not field that one, and it'll be 2-1.
Nice take there.
So Lake comes set, 2-1 count. The pitch, dribbled back, hits the umpire, as the count will be 2-all now. So as we mentioned, once Lake finally gets going in these at-bats, you do not want to face him, and whether DeSimone fears that or not, it's a 2-2 count, and we'll see what Lake has got. 2 strikes, 2 balls, 2 outs. Lake's pitch, and they will say that DeSimone went unable to feel that one thrown, but he makes a great play throwing out DeSimone at first, as Salvo able to field that one, and the Statesmen keep this one a 3-3 ball game heading into the top of the 5th.
Chaos and a great throw over to first. That's the way you want to end the inning if you're Marshall.
The third baseman, number 7, Ethan Moore.
Welcome back, top of the 5th. Game tied at 3, and Marshall's back at the plate. And like you just heard from PA, it's Ethan Moore coming up, who lined out his first time up, struck out his second time up. He's against Jackson Bordeaux. And Bordeaux is still not allowed a hit yet this season. He winds and delivers. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Calvin, I feel like Bordeaux is the most efficient pitcher we've seen by far from both sides this season. I mean, whether it's the location or just getting guys swinging, he really can't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where he had some opportunities last season as that one smoked to left. Trying to rate it out as Moore. Going to track it is DeSimone. Can he make the catch? He cannot. He runs into the wall. Moore is running across second. Will he go? He'll stop. It's a double for Ethan Moore, one that almost made it out of the park. And Jackson Bordeaux allows his first hit of the season. Marshall is out of their dugout. That is a huge momentum shift in favor of the Statesmen.
Yeah, Calvin, I'm going to knock on some wood. I pray I did not jinx Bordeaux's near-perfect season so far, but more than anything, that was a great hit by Ethan Moore, and that one almost got out. Cole DeSimone did a good one tracking that one down, but just over his head.
Yeah, and for fear of sounding contradictory, what I was about to say about Bordeaux is that, I mean, he very much was waiting for this opportunity. Got some playing time last season, but now being a bullpen regular at this point is definitely like not only very appreciative of the opportunity, but very excited for it as well. As Lake steps up, he walked and singled his first couple of times up. Now he's got a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Yeah, Moore calls time over the base. He'll give his equipment to the first base coach. But yeah, Calvin, Jackson Bordeaux, as you mentioned, going from some relief innings last year to really being the primary relief guy, especially when they need longer innings, guys to eat up innings, which in this particular situation they do.
Yeah, and Bordeaux looking in now at the left-hander Nathan Lake. The pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. So on deck is Dylan Miller, the catcher, but Lake, the lefty, steps back in. Outfield playing moderately deep as we've got a good one on our hands here at James Madison High School. Top of the 5th, tied 3-3 between Madison and Marshall. Marshall's 0-1 on the season. Madison 1-0, looking to stay undefeated. That pitch gets away from Tyrell. Running for third is Moore. He's going to have it. And barks coming from the dugout. They're very, very excited as Moore gets a stolen base on the wild pitch there. Jackson Bordeaux will try to regain the control that he so prides himself on.
And it's not just him, it's Pudge as well. I mean, he continuously mentioned that in the pregame interview, particularly with Bordeaux, but we see things getting away a little bit here. Let's see how he recovers.
Yeah, that's a great point. Coach Pudge has a lot of confidence in him. Here's the pitch. Inside, backs the man Lake away from the plate. The count is 2-1 with nobody out.
I mean, Calvin, ultimately here for the Warhawks, putting Lake on wouldn't necessarily be the worst case scenario. You still have the double play ball with Dorsey and Yates up the middle, which is inevitable ultimately for the Statesmen.
The pitch chopped up the middle. Yates has it. He's going to look home. Will he get him? The throw is offline. Throw is offline, and Moore is going to score, and that allows the hitter Lake to reach base for the third time today. It's Marshall 4 and Madison 3.
Yeah, Calvin, reality starting to settle in for the Warhawks. They are now down 4-3, as you mentioned. Let's see how they can recover first time being down all season long.
Absolutely, and now stepping in is Dylan Miller. He got first base on an error his first time up and grounded out his second time up. So this is a big moment for him. Bordeaux standing off. It looks like there's an umpire talking about a pinch runner. It looks like Oliver Smith is going to come in to pinch run for Moore here in the top of the fifth.
Yeah, courtesy runner at that, so they'll, it appears, still keep Nathan Lake in the game.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been very productive. I would not expect him to leave anytime soon, but he will pinch run after the single, and now Miller steps up against Bordeaux. The pitch, chopped down the third base line, just foul, 0-1.
Chirps from the Statesman dugout.
That's right. Hearing a lot of noise. They're very excited to be up on the road. I would be too if I were facing Madison, but I mean, as biased Madison students, hoping to see a response here with a runner on first and nobody out. Throw over, tag is in, runner is out! Oliver Smith gets out at first on the pickoff. Nice job there by Bordeaux.
Yeah, Calvin, we've emphasized on Bordeaux's pickoff play the entire season so far, him being the lefty pitcher he is, and Smith tried to jump. He gets in the game a little too excited, and Bordeaux gets him out.
Great job there by Jackson Bordeaux, and a great tag by Nico Papathanassiou as that one's fouled off. So how about that for changing some momentum? No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out on Miller.
Yeah, Calvin, now that he's relaxed, Bordeaux settled in after the pickoff play. Watch out for strike 3 here.
I'm watching and waiting. And Bordeaux, so good at controlling his pitches. That one's high and away. Count is 1-2. So Miller again up for the third time today. Bordeaux comes set, working a little slower than Cale Yates did. The 1-2, hit into the back, stop there. Count stays at 1-2. Miller stays alive. Bordeaux coming into the stretch again, even with nobody on. That pitch popped high in the sky. Bordeaux's chasing. Papathanassiou's chasing into foul territory. He gets it and runs into the runner, but a nice catch. What a job by Nico Papathanassiou. Miller's on the ground, a little slow to get up. Now he does. He kind of ran his helmet into Nico Papathanassiou there, but he does pop out. And with 2 outs in the inning, up comes Vince Salvo.
Yeah, Calvin, Papathanassiou over there at first laid Miller out, and a nice play by him holding on to that baseball.
Yeah, that was really good job tracking. You could tell he didn't want to be in the baseline, but of course that's where the ball was. He had to be. And the manager for Marshall is coming out to talk to the umpire. Mike Noyes is not very happy about the last play.
The trainer for the Warhawks now walking over towards that Marshall dugout as Miller was slow to get up. And we will have a pause in play.
Yeah, I mean, he took the hit to the head, so obviously always want to be careful, even in the slightest chance of something like a concussion in a high school baseball game. Better safe than sorry, as now we'll see if that affects Miller's ability to stay in the game, but of course he's no longer catching for the team, still in the batting lineup. And now Salvo, who grounded out his first couple times up, steps up to the plate. That pitch is hammered into right. Will Tuft get it? He will not. It drops for a base hit. That is a nice job there by Salvo to get one down, and maybe a 2-out rally for Marshall is cooking. They're up by 1 with a runner on first, 2 away, and Noah Grossman steps up.
Yeah, Calvin, no play there for Tuff in the outfield. Just dropped that one in. Vincent Salvo, and now Noah Grossman with a chance to extend the Statesmen lead.
Absolutely, and he walked his first time up. Pinch runner Joey Deerback stole second when he did that, and now he singled his second time up. Now he's back up. Bordeaux delivers, swing and a miss. Good location, nothing in 1.
Yeah, Grossman there, unable to connect, and Bordeaux's location on point all of a sudden.
Yeah, now with the runner taking a lead off first, it's Salvo standing over there. Bordeaux on the mound, trying to retire Grossman. The pitch inside, back pick attempt. Almost. What a job there by Kyle Tyrell. As that ball gets away from Bordeaux. Looks like the umpires are calling time, so no way to get over to second there.
That was a strike.
Pardon me, the pitch was a strike, though, so count is 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner takes the lead off first. Bordeaux comes set. Throws over to first. Runner's back safely. 0-2 on Grossman. Lots of noise coming from that Marshall dugout. Another throw over. Runner gets back safely. Bordeaux does not want him in scoring position.
Yeah, shortening Salvo's lead with the pickoff attempts.
Here's the set. Salvo's dancing. Bordeaux's not having it. That one, belt high, strike 3. And Jackson Bordeaux fired up, coming off the mound. Always love to see that after an inning-ending strikeout. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and the Warhawks survive with just 1 run allowed. They'll try to get even after this. Bottom of the 5th, 4-3 game, and Cord Yates steps up for the 3rd time today. Got hit by a pitch and grounded out his first couple of times up. And now, I mean, Madison's no stranger to coming back in games as we saw last year. They're going to have to do it. As Yates belts it to right. Will it fall? The right fielder, Ryan Morris, does track it down. So a hard hit ball, but that's out number 1.
Yeah, you heard that one off the back, Calvin. And jumped in Ford made some good contact. First time we've seen him definitively do that so far today, but nice play over and right, and one down now.
Henry Navario's up. He got hit by a pitch his first time, struck out his second time up. Now coming set, Nathan Lake, the pitcher, back in for another frame. That one is a heater on the outside edge. That velocity is still there despite him being deeper into his outing.
Yeah, Calvin. I mean, Nathan Lake, we emphasized that right when he came in. The velocity, the fastball, it is not something you want to face as a hitter.
That hits him right in the thigh. I mean, Henry Navario has now been hit by a pitch twice this game, and he's no stranger to it. And now he's over at first. That's big for momentum as Nico Papathanassiou steps up. He grounded out and hit no fielder's choice his first couple times up.
Yeah, Calvin, 3 hit by pitches now from the Statesmen side to the Warhawks, and second of the day for Henry Navario, although you like getting that speed on base nonetheless.
Yeah, so Navario, a big threat to steal here. We'll see if Lake, the left-hander, keeps an eye on him. Papathanassiou in the box. The pitch popped into the back netting for strike one.
Yeah, you know Papathanassiou wants that one back, Calvin.
Yeah, he's going to step back in, looking to hit for some power here. Outfield relatively deep against the number 3 hitter. Lake throws to first. Navario's back safely. This one a lot more competitive than the first game against Potomac Falls. Remember, I mean, this one got mercy ruled in the bottom of the 5th on Tuesday. Now it's a 1-run Warhawk deficit. That pitch hit hard to center. Trying to track it down is Alexander. He's looking back, and he is looking. It's out. And it's now throwing it in is Zach O'Neill. Looking to go home is Navario, and he scores. Papathanassiou trying to dive back at second. The ball goes into center. He's going to take off for third. He's got no helmet. Throw comes over. He dives. Safe. Nico Papathanassiou with an extra base hit, driving in the game-tying run. It's tied at 4.
Calvin, Nico Papathanassiou got right back up after sliding into second, and he gets into third safely. And that one, a line drive directly off the bat. And that is that power that we have been waiting to see all season long. Almost got out, Calvin.
Almost. I mean, that was a big-time hit. And now Tundrell coming up, who struck out his second time up, hit a single his first time up. And Papathanassiou with a double there, driving in the run. Navario, the game's tied at 4. I mean, what else did you want in the bottom of the 5th inning?
Yeah, I know, Calvin. Now the game's all tied up, and the Warhawks' premier opportunity to take a lead.
That pitch just outside for ball 1. So Tundrell, again, like I mentioned, he had a stolen base this game as well. Singled, struck out. Now facing Lake. Papathanassiou, even more dirt on his uniform now as he stands on third. The pitch hit hard in the left. It's going to fall. Papathanassiou takes the lead, and a big turnaround first for Tundrell. It's a 2-hit outing for him, 5-4.
Calvin at one point initially looked like they brought Lake in to face the lefties. The lefties are the ones getting it done for the Warhawks. First was Papathanassiou. Next up, Nathan Tundrell.
It's fun to watch. Now the Warhawks really starting to tee off here as Chase Dorsey steps up. Reached first on an error and walked his first 2 times at the plate. That pitch is hit up the middle. The second baseman Strowan trying to turn 2. He can't. Can he even get 1? He cannot. So, Deerback was the one there committing the error. But Dorsey reaches again. That's his second time reaching on an error. And now with runners on first and second and 1 out, stepping up is Carter Tuft, who had the hot bat on Tuesday.
Yeah, Calvin Tuft did have the hot bat on Tuesday, but last year, these were the innings where we saw the Warhawks start to emphasize on offense. So many comebacks in the playoffs, and now it's in the regular season this year, 2024, and they're doing the same thing.
Check swing. Did he go? Looks like he did for a strike, so nothing in 1. It looked like the umpire was originally going to appeal over to first, maybe just decided not to. Nothing in 1 with 1 out. Taking a big lead off second there is the runner Tundrell. Dorsey off first. The pitch is in the dirt. Tundrell's going to take third. Dorsey will take second. The Warhawks have 2 runners in scoring position, already up by 1 for Carter Tuft with 1 out.
Yeah, time from Pudge.
So Coach Pudge wanting to talk to Carter Tuft briefly is we're now going to have a meeting at the mound with Nathan Lake, who is struggling in the fifth. He did a good job to this point, but we'll see if Mike Noyes ends up pulling him from this game. Everybody's meeting up on the mound there. The Warhawks, again, they'll play their next game Tuesday against Brooke Point. That's also at home, so you can catch that right here on Warhawk Nation Live YouTube. For those of you just tuning in, it's been a back-and-forth affair. The Warhawks have led and been behind. They currently have 2 runs in this inning and lead 5-4 in the bottom of the fifth here at home at Madison High School. Looking to improve to 2-0 on the year. Sam, what's your biggest takeaway from this game so far?
Yeah, I think our biggest takeaway has to be that this Warhawks squad is so similar to last year's state championship squad. I mean, these later innings have been a huge emphasis for them offensively. And I also think Jackson Bordeaux's accuracy being on point once again is definitely a huge takeaway for Warhawks. He's going to be their primary reliever this year.
Yeah, and he's earned that right. Been very, very good in that spot. And now Tuft steps up. 0-1 count, 1 out. Can the Warhawks blow it open even more?
I mean, if there's going to be anyone to do it, Calvin, it's the guy who gave them the lead yesterday and wants to do it again today.
Yeah, and now it looks like the umpire is actually saying 1-1, so it was not 0-1, but 1-1 as the count is even. Looking back now is Nathan Lake pitching from the stretch. It's Dorsey off second and Tundrell off third, and Tuft at the box. Infield in with 1 out. Here's the pitch. Inside. Looks like it did not hit Tuft, but only barely. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, Calvin. Dorsey over at second, taking nearly a third of the distance. That's right, 30-plus feet between second and third with the Statesmen infielding.
Yeah, he's already standing over, but he wants to be the shortstop. He's got to realize it's not the top of the 6th yet. I'm just being facetious. Of course, Chase Dorsey really getting the maximum distance to try to bring home 2 with a potential single as Tufts chops it over to short. Thomas fires for home. Won't get the out. 1 run scores. Dorsey wants another. He gets it. And by that point, we now have the hitter Tuft at second.
Let's go!
Calvin, this is what we emphasized on the later innings, and now they're in the Statesman head. You can clearly tell Dorsey came around to score after the error at the plate, and that Schroen substitution, although it looked great early, and it's definitely helped Nathaniel Lake, it has hurt defensively recently, as now the Warhawks have a substitution.
Yeah, so they'll have a pinch hitter in. It's Daniel Nielsen, who had a big pinch hit last game. It was a double. He'll come in for Hector Roscoe. But yeah, what you talked about, Schroen came in at catcher, and that was, he wasn't quite able to handle that throw home, which allowed 2 runs to score. So Nielsen checks in as the pinch hitter, replacing Hector Roscoe, who struck out his first 2 times up. Lake still on the mound. We got the runner Tuft leading off second after that fielder's choice turned into a double. He's dancing around back there. 1 out, swing and a miss.
Yeah, Schroen, nice frame job there behind the dish, but it didn't matter. Lake, tremendous pitch, got Nielsen swinging.
Yeah, the count is 0-1. Nielsen steps back in. He was a key factor in the Warhawks state title run last year, often as a pinch hitter. He's in that role again. 0-1, throw over. Back safely is the runner Tuft. And the Warhawks are just cycling around and around the bases now. And suddenly, Marshall looked really, really good heading into this inning. I don't think we've seen a bigger momentum shift than now in this 4-run fifth.
Yeah, Calvin. And you'll see Lake's really started to move a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Regarding his pitches. He's taking more time in between. Currently investing in Schroen's decision.
Fouled off. Wow. Almost went right at the head of the umpire. Good to see that missed him. 0-2. Down the first baseline there. Nielsen was all over it. Just a little bit late.
Nielsen so far batting 1,000 on the season with his base knock yesterday. Calvin, does he keep that up in this at-bat?
I sure hope so. This is a big time with runner in scoring position, but with that contact, I would not be surprised. The pitch gets away from the catcher, and runner Tufts takes third. And it is a ball, so it's going to be 1-2 with 1 out. Warhawks 7, Statesmen 4, bottom of the 5th in this rivalry game as Madison looks to improve to 2-0 on the season. Nielsen stands in the box, Schroen behind the plate. It's Tuft on third, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Lake comes set, Tuft off third. The pitch, high and away. Tuft was dancing down the line there. It's 2-2. Nielsen battling back, and you just saw a huge hack outside of the box.
Yeah, things starting to get away from Lake now as the game has progressed. 4 runs for the Warhawks this inning. Can Nielsen make it 5?
Lake. High. 3-2.
Schroen does a good job trying to get that one to sell to the umpires, but good take from Nielsen nonetheless. That one outside the zone as we have a full count.
Sack fly still in play here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It was 0-2 just a moment ago. Lake winds, delivers. Nielsen fouls it. It's stuck. It's stuck in the backstop. I've never seen that before in a Warhawk game. Coming to get it, saving the ball there is Kyle Tyrell. Preventing balls from getting the backstop however he can, whether at catcher or running out to grab it out of the hole. 3-2 count, the pitch. Strike 3. Nielsen gets caught looking and frozen. I mean, a 500 batting average, though, Sam, still pretty good.
Yeah, a great pitch there from Lake. A take that typically goes 50-50, but in this scenario goes the pitcher's direction.
Yeah, and so Kyle Tyrell is now up with 2 outs. He grounded out his first couple times up. Now going to face Nathan Lake. Tuffed off third. The pitch. Inside. Strike 1 on the inside corner. Tyrell was crowning the plate maybe just a little bit, which is why he had to back away. Nothing in 1. Next pitch. Popped up. High and out of play. Nothing in 2 now with 2 outs. Outfield is relatively shallow, especially in center and right with Cal Alexander and Ryan Morris, although Jack O'Neill's not particularly far back either. Nothing in 2 with 2 outs and a runner on third. Can the Warhawks keep this alive and extend their lead? Lake looks, sets, time is called. Lake versus Tyrell, nothing in 2. The offering popped up near the seats, kind of near us, and it avoids any spectators. Still nothing in 2, and Hector Orozco brings out a new ball for the umpire, who throws it out to Nathan Lake.
Yeah, Calvin, Kyle Tyrell fighting this at bat. Oh, look who's in the on-deck circle. The man with the home run yesterday.
Preston Lee. That is a good call by you, as we mentioned last game. Sam's in the spot where he can see on deck circle, whereas I'm blind to there. I'm fully reliant on Sam's information, but Preston Lee definitely wants to get to the plate as that one's in the dirt. 1 and 2. Throw to third. Can Tuft get back? It's in a foul territory. Carter Tuft will score. 4-run game.
Yeah, Calvin once again, great base running that one, getting away from the Statesmen, and they have had a rough bottom half of this 5th inning. And Calvin, you got to think the reason why Preston Lee's in that on-deck circle is Pudge wants to platoon him and D. Simone, 2 power guys. We obviously saw that with the Lee home run yesterday. And assuming the Statesmen keep Nathan Lake in this game, they'll have the lefty-righty matchup in their favor.
That's a great point there for sure. And now it's 8-4. Tyrell steps back into the box. And, Mike Noyes is going to be preaching to his team. No errors, no errors, no errors after this one as Tyrell pops it up into the outfield. Thomas is tracking. Will he get to it? He does, secures it, and it's a pop out for out number 3. So we won't get to see Preston Lee in that inning. What we did get to see is a 5-run Warhawk effort. We'll go to the top of the 6th with Madison holding a much more comfortable lead.
Now pitching for the Warhawks, number 16, James Bellini.
Calvin now pitching for the Warhawks. The youngest pitcher we have seen so far all season long, that being Jimmy Bellini, is the man he will be
The shortstop,
facing.
number 8,
Will be the
Thomas.
Statesmen. Will Thomas, Calvin, Jimmy Bellini, another lefty similar to Bordeaux. You surprised Pudge stuck with another lefty?
I'm not. And I mean, considering the heat we saw him have in warm-ups, I'm excited to see what he's got here.
Yeah, Bellini's first pitch. Right down the heart of the plate, strike one. So the sophomore unfazed. 6th inning action, the Warhawks up 8-4. We get to see a debut.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to see what Jimmy Bellini's got. A good start there.
A one pitch from Bellini. Once again, swung on and missed this time by Will Thomas as the count 0-2.
Yeah, it looks like we have a pinch hitter on deck. Joey Deerbeck is going to pinch hit for Ryan Morris. One of the few times I can identify a pinch hitter as this on-deck circle is visible to me.
Bellini's 0-2 pitch as he comes set, driven towards right field. Looks like it's drifting, and that'll go foul.
Yeah, looks like it stayed in the field of play just barely, but definitely a foul ball there.
You hear that Warhawks dugout all over Bellini's back is rooting for the young sophomore here in a big game. Rivalry action. As mentioned earlier, the Warhawks with a 4-run lead as Thomas now takes home, or correction, calls time at home. Bellini now 0-2 count. Bill comes set. Tyrell sets up outside. The pitch in the dirt, low and inside, and the count now 1-2.
Yeah, so good job on Jimmy Bellini's part to get ahead in the count. Even at 1-2, he's still in a good position here against Will Thomas in his first appearance in his high school career for Varsity.
Yeah, Bellini now with a little bit of versatility. 1-2 pitch, swung on towards the right field line. Good fielded by Papathanasiou. Well fielded. Grammatical error on my part, but the Warhawks now with their first out of the inning and the first out of hopefully a young and great career from Jimmy Bellini.
I'd prefer a grammatical error on your part than an error in the field on Papathanasiou's part, but that's like the second great play that he's made at first base. I mean, honestly, if you want an underrated player of the game, it'd probably be Nico Papathanasiou, who had a big hit, but also has had a couple great plays at first.
Yeah, most certainly, Calvin. That one took a weird bounce, but now it'll be Bellini coming set. The pitch swung on and missed once again. Bellini gets ahead in the count 0-1.
Yeah, so Deerbeck we saw being a substitute in terms of pinch running in that second. Now he's in the batting order in place of Ryan Morris.
And Joey Deerbeck now 1-1 count. Bellini comes set, 1 down. Pitch outside and a little wild as the count will be even 1-1.
Good stuff so far from Jimmy Bellini as we do see Kyle Alexander in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, lefty-lefty preference. Finally going the Warhawks' way this time as Bellini comes set, 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed again, 1-2 the count now.
And this is just big-time stuff. In the 6th inning, you don't want to go in the 7th if you're Marshall down by 4. They have to have something here, and still nobody on. 1-2 count, 1 out.
Yeah, 1-2 count. Bellini comes set. Deerbeck ready. The pitch, high, outside, 2-2 now. Bellini's been untouchable so far, although he's only faced one batter to this point, Deerbeck being the second. 1 down for the Warhawks in this top half of the 6th. Bellini comes set now, the southpaw, ready. 2-2 count. The pitch swung on, fouled away as it hit a light pole, and the count will remain 2-2.
Yeah, it banked back into the field of play there, but very clearly foul, and now a big chance to retire the batter here for Jimmy Bellini against Joey Deerbeck.
Yep, so the count remains 2-2 after the Deerbeck fouled away pitch as Bellini comes set. 1 down, 2-2 count, the pitch. High and away, and the count will be full.
Yeah, now it seems like he's a little more amped up, maybe putting a little more mustard on these than he otherwise should. Maybe if you're Jimmy Bellini, at least to settle in, maybe take a mile an hour or two off the fastball and focus more on location on this pitch.
Yeah, he comes set, full count. 1 down, swung on, tipped into the glove of Tyrell. And the first strikeout of Bellini's career comes against Joey Deerback. 2 down now for the Warhawks.
Perfect job. He did it. He located the pitch really, really well, and a nice job by Tyrell securing it in his mitt.
You've got to imagine Bellini's pumped after that one, and now he gets the lefty-lefty matchup against Cal Alexander, who so far has been one of the key players to the Statesmen, or for the Statesmen rather, in this game. As Bellini gets the lefty-lefty matchup. First pitch of this at bat. A nice movement on that one. Fouled away by Alexander, and the count will be 0-1.
Yeah, so Alexander stepping in. I mean, you have to think he might be looking to hit one to center. It looks like Orozco's backing up a little bit, but he was very, very, very shallow in center field on that first pitch there.
Yeah, Alexander ready with his Bruce Bolt's batting gloves. Bellini comes set. 0-1 pitch. Dribbled to Bellini. It appeared to not hit off home. Bellini comes set, throws over to first, and another great stretching play by Papathanassiou. Bellini pumped. He goes 1-2-3 in his first inning, and the Warhawks remain with a 4-run lead.
What a start to your career. Your high school career as a sophomore. Jimmy Bellini doing all he needed to and then some. Fantastic job as we go to the bottom of the sixth.
Galvin now stepping in for the Warhawks. Daniel Kaloran also batting 1,000 on the year. And it'll go Kaloran, Yates, and then as if right now, Navario. We'll see if he's still the man once he steps into the on-deck circle. But I did PA yesterday for one at-bat, that being Daniel Kaloran. We substituted into the game, and we have a little pause in play here as one of the Warhawks coaches appears to be talking to the home plate umpire.
Yeah, I mean, good that you were flexible in that spot to call out Daniel Kaloran's name for the first time in his high school career. Actually, I don't remember. I don't remember if he ever actually had a full at bat last year. He definitely didn't, at least late in the season. But nonetheless, this is the first year where he's really getting significant playing time, and we'll see what he's got.
Yeah. So no Preston Lee, as he was the initial guy stepping into the on-deck circle last sitting. It'll be Daniel Kaloran rather, as Nathan Lake remains in the game for the Statesmen. But right now, the focus on Kaloran as he calls time and steps away from the plate.
Yeah, and if you're the Warhawks, I mean, obviously you're content with a 4-run lead, but there's a difference between being content and being complacent. And Coach Pudge keeps saying, complacency is for losers. You don't want to be complacent.
Kaloran with a drive down the left field line. That one's going to be field. He takes a hard turnover at first, and a big turn at that, but he'll remain. And very similar to last game, a single for him down the left field line, and all of a sudden the Warhawks have a runner on.
Mr. batting 1,000, 2 for 2 with 2 singles on the year. And yeah, that's what exactly not being exactly the opposite of being complacent right there. Good to see.
Yeah, Kaloran pumped after he hit that single, and a great start to his season, to say the very least. But now stepping in, Cord Yates. Yates now signaling bunt. He will bunt that. It'll go back to the mound. Nathan Lake. Good recovery. Throw over to first, caught by Salvo, but the Warhawks will gladly take that trade off. And now you got Kaloran over in a scoring position.
Well done by Cord Yates, putting down the bunt. Of course, that's why we see these teams practice it before the game begins. And now Navario has been struck by a couple pitches so far today, and we'll see what he's got in the box.
Navario steps in now. One down, 2 hit by pitches for him so far. One of those against Lake. Kaloran dancing a little bit over at second. Good pitch from Lake at the plate. And he'll get ahead 0-1 against Navarro.
Yeah, it looks like we got Santos for Marshall warming up in the bullpen as Lake's time might be coming to a close in just a little bit. But he's still out there for now.
Yeah, Statesmen potentially going back to a righty, although you certainly don't want to do that against the on-deck man being Nico Papathanassiou. But right now the focus on Henry Navarro as he calls time. Lake 0-1 count in his favor. The pitch swung on and missed. Nice cut there from Navarro, but even better pitch from Lake as he gets ahead now 0-2. He'll step off and will eye Kaloran over at second. Maybe a little chirping between the two, but Kaloran continuing to take a large lead off second base. No one on the Statesman looking to refute that. Navarro ready. Lake ready as now. Lake will throw back to second. It gets away from Joey Deerback, but Kaloran will decide to stay at second and will resume in the same spot we were prior to the pickoff attempt.
And that time it wasn't a disaster, but that's maybe the 7th time that we've seen a ball get away from a fielder when they've been trying to throw over to a certain base. Mike Noyes is going to be talking to his team about that after this game for sure. Unforced errors.
Yeah, most certainly Calvin. And now Navarro inside pitch. He was crowding a little bit, but it'll be ball one in the at-bat. Calvin, we've seen Nathan Lake do that a lot this game, where he kind of dots up that inside corner, and it looks like a ball initially, but then you realize how crowded the Warhawks batters occasionally are towards that plate. Lake's pitch here swung on and missed high and away, and that'll be out number 2 this inning with Cloran standing on second, and Papathanassiou now once again facing a left-handed pitcher, that being Lake.
Yeah, Navarro knew right away that he shouldn't have swung on that pitch. But I will say, on the previous pitch and at the at-bat in general, I admire that he was able to stand in just in the same spot that he did for his previous at-bats at the plate, despite being hit by a pitch twice. You saw he wasn't afraid to take one for a team a third time if it meant getting a runner on base.
Yeah, Navarro, a wrestler, so used to taking those hits. As the first pitch to Papathanassiou is a ball away, and it'll be a 1-0 count. So far, so good for Warhawk Baseball. They lead 8-4 against Marshall right now. Bottom half of the 6th. 2 down, 1 ball. Kaloran taking his lead over at second. Lake comes set, pitching to Papathanassiou. The pitch. Beautifully thrown. Gets the outside corner. And the count will be even 1-1 now.
Yeah, and Nico Papathanassiou has had a couple extra base hits so far this season. The double this game, a triple last game. He's looking to hack here.
Yeah, the problem with those pitches outside for him is he has to drive them the other way. But right now, taking third is Kaloran, as that pitch got away from Lake, and Sharon could not field it cleanly. So the Warhawks will have a runner over at third for Papathanassiou's at bat. 2-1 count. Calvin, a lot of pitches getting away from Nathan Lake lately, obviously. That's been a big problem. That's led to, as you said, a lot of errors.
They're trying to run his pitch count up, not necessarily to for the purpose of that, but just to keep other guys fresh.
That one just outside. Good take from Papathanassiou as the count will be 3-1 with 2 down.
It's always mind games. They're not mind games, but it's always sort of game theory when you're trying to figure out whether to run these pitches up or take these guys out early. Lake won't be available for the next few days.
Oh, Nico drives one foul. As that one may have hit a car. Got a good swing on that one. Squared it up, but out in front, which we don't see ever too often against Lake with his velocity, but maybe in these later innings, it's starting to take a toll on him.
Yeah, that was smoked. Maybe the highest exit velocity out of any hit so far.
3-2 pitch, beautifully thrown, good movement, great movement, and that swung on and missed by Papathanassiou as the lead will remain at 4 runs for the Warhawks. It'll be 8-4 when we come back, and Jimmy Bellini will have a chance to close it out.
12, William Cronin.
So now the catcher Schronen up to hit against, I should say, Jimmy Bellini. Got some substitutions here as Bellini's first pitch is inside for ball one. Drew Hall is at third. Henry Navarro moves over to second. Daniel Kaloran is in left as the Warhawks lead by 4 runs. And again, the catcher, William Schroen, stepping up for the 4th time today.
No way.
1-2-3 inning. Last inning for Jimmy Bellini as that one misses for ball 2. Bellini, the 3rd different pitcher for the Warhawks on his 2nd inning of work now, as Schroen flied out, called out on batter's interference, and struck out his first 3 times up. The 2-0. Misses. Actually, no, it didn't miss. On the outside corner, strike 1.
Yeah, Calvin, one thing that's going to be huge for the Warhawks, if Bellini is really the pitcher that he looks like he's been so far in this outing, is them having 2 key lefties out of the bullpen. That's been a struggle for Marshall, as they could only go to Lake today with Salvo already being used up.
That's a great point. And Bellini misses there 3-1. With a 4-run lead, he's trying to close this one out. Of course, unless Marshall ties this one up, it will be all over after this inning. Or, of course, if they took the lead. But right now, 3-1 count, nobody out, and Marshall has to get a miraculous rally going to stay alive. High, though, ball 4. So that's how you want to start if you're Marshall. Ethan Moore will step up. He had a double his last time up, and we saw his speed on display on the base paths. But Jimmy Bellini allowing his first base runner of his varsity career.
Now batting for Marshall, number 7, Ethan Moore.
Yeah, you hear Chase Dorsey out at short looking to turn 2 here.
Absolutely. Top of the 7th at Madison High School. The Warhawks lead 8-4 on Marshall. A win would improve them to 2-0 in this rivalry. That one's chopped over to second. Yates might not have enough to get her in 2. He goes for 1 instead, and Papathanassiou takes care of it at first. 1 out, but it does advance the runner. Navarro takes care of it by sending it to Papathanassiou at first. 1 out, but a runner on second.
Yeah, Calvin, huge play there. The Warhawks take the force out rather than
Now
attempting
batting
to turn
for
2, and now
Marshall,
1 down in the
number
last
16,
potentially inning of
Nathan
play.
Lake.
Yeah, so now Nathan Lake steps up. He's been good at pitcher, allowed a few runs, but has also been steady in terms of staying in the game for a long time. But the Warhawks, so far, so good in this inning. Have a runner in scoring position, but also have 1 out amid their substitutions. Again, Hall at third, Navarro at second, Kaloran in left. Lake walked, had a single, and had a fielder's choice his first 3 times up. His pinch runner, Oliver Smith, was picked off at first last time up, as that one misses for ball 1. 1-0 count with 1 out. Runner on second. Bellini comes set. Looks back at second. Winds and throws. That one's popped foul out of play. 1-1 is the count.
Calvin, obviously baseball has been great so far, but is there a sport that you liked earlier in the year from Madison in particular?
I would say, I always loved going to football games. Football team has been really, really good over the last few years. I would say that's the main one. Of course, I would say boys basketball definitely exceeded expectations this year, as well as girls soccer, as that one's down the middle for strike 2. Honestly, I wasn't able to go to very many games early in the year because of college apps and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Warhawk football has been really dominant for like 3 years now in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. Coach Counts has changed that culture recently.
That one outside, throw over to third, gets away. So the runner is safe. Trying to go for home is Schroen, and he gets it. So Marshall does score a run. They're now within 3. It's the Warhawks 8 and the Statesmen 5. And now stepping back in with a 1-2 count in just a moment is the batter Lake. It's a 2-2 count up there, not 1-2 with 1 out in the inning here after the latest ball. So Marshall, nobody on, 1 out. They're within 3 though. Pitch, swing, and a miss on the breaking ball. And Jimmy Bellini's fired up knowing he's 1 out away from putting it away. And now checking in is the pinch hitter, Jonah Mako, for his first at-bat of the game here.
Yeah, Calvin going to the righty-lefty matchup in favor of Marshall. And you got Vincent Salvo in the on-deck circle. So some power as Bellini looking to put this one away here.
Sophomore matchup is low. on Bellini's first
Now
pitch for ball
batting
one.
for Marshall, number 5, Jonah Mako.
1-0 count with 2 outs. That pitch misses away. 2-0 count. So Mako getting ahead. Salvo is the one on deck, trying to keep the game alive for Marshall's on their last out. The Warhawks would improve to 2-0 with a win. Marshall trying to get their first win of the season. Bellini throws. Hit hard to right. Tuft is tracking back. Can he get there? He's waving his arm, and he makes the running catch, and that's it. That's all she wrote for Marshall. Mako flies out, and the whole bench is fired up. The Warhawks improve to 2-0 on the season. Your final scores, the Warhawks 8 and the Statesmen 5. Sam, what a game and what a job holding on, especially in the later innings.
Yeah, what a game. As you mentioned, Jimmy Bellini closing it out. Great way to end it. And the Warhawks, great start to their season, 2-0.
Madison is 2-0, and we'll see them next Tuesday at home against Brooke Point, so don't miss that one. Thank you all who tuned in to the second broadcast of the season, live at James Madison High School, alongside Sam Dine. This has been Calvin Kaplan saying so long until the next installment of the Book of Baseball.